Hello, everyone. This is another crazy week of oh my God. You ever had that moment where you write about something and you just wish that you weren't? That's basically where I am with the NFL season. Okay, yeah, that's where I am with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Me and well, we'll get to the NFL side. Let's start with with the uh with the NCAA and college football weekend and just everything that happened.
Oh,
Quick,
how wrong I was
uh,
in in the land
uh,
of the college football picks.
well, I mean, okay. So in fairness, you get to the
That
point.
was so bad.
Yeah. It was still bad, but still, in all fairness, especially when it comes to Indiana.
Yeah,
Indiana kind of reminds me of how I was about Detroit because I had people coming to me the year that they beat Aaron and they were celebrating like it was their Super Bowl.
sure.
Even though they were going to be at home, but they kept the Packers from going to the playoffs. So to them, that was their Super Bowl, and
That
they
was
were
it.
celebrating and they carrying on. And my friend that's a Packers fan, he's like, man, you better watch out for Detroit. And I had somebody else tell me. So when he told me, I'm like, why do I need to look out for them? And he's like, man, did you see how they ended? Did you see what they did to Green Bay? I'm like, I'm aware of it. What does that have to do with why I need to watch out for them next year? And and he's like, dude, they, they going to the Super Bowl. They going to be winning division titles. I'm like, okay, I'll believe it when I see it. And they did make me a believer. They still didn't complete the thing by making it to the Super Bowl because, like I try to tell people, the reason why we see things we don't like it when it personally happens to us, but people go by patterns. They go by what you do. So just because you change your pattern for a hot second, don't mean I'm gonna change my overall view of you until I see consistency. In
Sure.
everything, you got to see consistency. In relationships, you got to see consistency. When working with your coworkers, if you want me to see you different, and I know I went through this. Shout out to my old boss Bill Ray. He's a first impression person. He get a wrong first impression of you, you're screwed until you change it. I ended up changing it, so now we cool, but still, I had to do the work to change it, and that's what Indiana's doing now. When last year when Signetti came out, and I heard him, he was just flapping and talking about he was going to whoop Michigan's ass and what, well, like screw Ohio State, screw Michigan, Indiana's here, and I'm like, oh, okay, I hear you. Now I got to see you. And
Sure.
last year when he played some of the big dogs, it didn't go the way he said. And then he got into the playoffs. I'm like, oh, but look, he got into the playoffs. I went, okay. And how did that go again? Oh, one and done. Got it. So against the big names that you said screw you, the ones that you played, you lost, and then you lost in the big playoff. But I'm still watching. So this year comes, he's a little quieter, but he still believes in his team. And dang it, this is what we're gonna do. We Indiana, you better pay attention to us. Okay, all right. You're a little quieter, not as boastful.
Sure.
Wait, you winning. Oh, you beat Oregon. Oh, I might actually. Okay, all
Right.
right, all right. You beat Oregon. Okay, all right. You in the playoff. All right. Same. I'm seeing a pattern. Everything's the same. Okay, except for we're winning now. We're undefeated. You beat Ohio State by the same score. Did my Wolverines miraculously somehow still confuses me how they beat Ohio State last year? But I digress. Let's stay in the present. Uh, Beat them by the same score, and then it's like Bama wins their game, and I'm like, I, I believe that this is a game that Alabama can lose, but Indiana better not go in slipping on them. Not only did they not go in sleeping on them, they eventually ended up beating all kinds of unreal breaks off of them for 4 quarters. Okay, you have my attention. I now have to pay attention to you, Mr. Signetti. And you didn't even gloat. You just basically said, look, this is all my people, and we're gonna talk about this because this thing that I've been trying to press home equates to both the NFL, some of the problems in the NFL, and some of the problems that's in college in terms of teams that were winning that aren't winning anymore or that haven't been winning and why it all ties in. And what I mean is this. If you listen to the winning teams and they talk to the coaches and they talk to the players, what's the thing you always hear while we're sitting up here talking about is mostly about the front office and it's mostly about this and it's mostly about that. The one thing that you will notice, the coaches know the players that they bring in. They make sure that exactly what their standard is, they bring in the players that fit, that understand what the standard is, and they're willing to go to war to 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 follow that standard. And the
Yeah.
coaches always stay on one page. The players always stay on one page together. We talked about it. Some of the teams lost this during the bowl games that some of the leaders of the teams they made their fellow players like, nah, bro, we gonna see this through to the end. You not jumping into the portal yet. Jump into the portal when the game is over. But for right now, we've been here so far. Boom, and then some of them, the players jumped into the portal, and everybody there was all right. Next man up, we gonna win this game. Everybody didn't win, but a lot of teams that people weren't expecting to win. Not only did they put forth good games, but they won. So I'm saying that
And,
to say this. I'm I'm
and,
I'm I'm saying that to say this. We got to really start looking at the full picture of everything that's going on. I'm not saying don't include that other stuff that I was talking about. Don't completely dismiss it. It's a part of the big picture. There's a big picture there, but the most important part of it is the players, whether it be their contract and if they're gonna stay with a team. It takes two. Like, look, this is what I can work with. If you can stay here, work with me. Let's see what let's crunch the numbers. Let's maybe I can move up a little bit if you work with me a little bit, but I can't be willing to work with you and you like, well, I got stardom and this is where I'm at and I'm not moving. And then everybody look at the people with the money and go, why didn't you just pay him the money? I'm like, well, he ain't the only one I got to pay. What are we doing here? He ain't the only one I got to pay this year. He ain't the only one I got to pay next year. He ain't the only one I got to pay. If I see something that looks nice and shiny that's as good as he is that I want to bring over here, I got to pay that person too. So this ain't baseball,
no, and even with baseball, it doesn't work all the time with it. What you're
right?
seeing, the crazy thing that you're seeing right now, with the portal being completely open right now, is look at what Indiana's doing in the portal right now. They're pretty much just reloading. If there's players that's graduating, they've already got their backups ready to go for spring football.
And I
That,
guarantee you that, and I guarantee you he's gonna stick to. He has his business model
and
of
that's
what he wants, and he only going for that. And you're not coming in the door unless you follow that.
right. And that's what I think one of the things that college football is going to start to deal with, that the NFL has dealt with, is that we can rate players to be exactly where they are. Me and you were talking about this when yesterday after the Bengals game was over with that. You can rate players as free agents because that's all this is during the transfer portal. All it is free agency. So
Mhm.
you can rate them and say that their stats, because what they did and everything else was here, but you have to make sure that their skill set matches along with what your philosophy is for your team. Anybody can go out there and go after. Let's be real here. With Sorsby leaving from UC over to Texas Tech, I don't think that that's a good fit. He's going back home, yes, because he's from there, but his play style to what Texas Tech was doing beforehand, you're going to be dealing with almost a lesser line because they have graduates that's coming there. Unless you retool that line, he's just moving to UC West.
and doing what a lot of teams do, even in the pros. One guy get a new home, but like who was it? Sam Darnold, Kirk Cousins, um uh Deshaun Watson. You actually had it better when you were down there in Houston. I get that you got in trouble when Houston let you go, but you going back to an old version of Houston when you go over to Cleveland. I don't care
Cleveland,
what
yeah.
money they paying you. They line ain't it, and they didn't do their research to pay attention to what they needed to improve, like the way Chicago did. Even last year, you could say whatever you want about Eberflus. They did improve that offensive line
With the
compared to
line,
what
yeah.
it was before Caleb showed up. Now, did it need some retooling because there were some injuries that happened? So even though they made it better, injuries ended up destroying it like it did everywhere else. Not as bad as everywhere else, like Detroit and with the Rams last year, um, and but bottom line, it happened. Details are important, right? So, but that's always my point. It takes two to buy in. You
Yeah.
have to. Part of the reason why KC took a hit is because every
They went after everything shiny.
they big three, they big three money kept going up, and they didn't have enough sense to pay attention to the Brady's and the Peyton Mannings that were literally in competition. Every time one took a pay cut within 3 to 24 hours, it was being reported on ESPN that the other one took a pay cut because
Other
they
one
were
was
literally
they was deferring money in order to give them cap space in order for them to work with.
right, right.
It's but it gets to where you're going to start to see, especially in college football. We've had the halves and the half nots that we were used to over the past 20 years. We're used to the Alabamas, the Ohio States, the Oregons, the Texases to a certain extent, the Oklahomas to a certain extent, Clemson, from all those major schools that we were used to saying, oh, they're gonna make it to the playoff or they fighting for the playoff for it. You're gonna
Well,
start to
well, they
see
had everybody.
right, but now they had everybody because their coaching was the only way that those players felt like they could go to the pros and succeed.
Right, right.
Now they're not worried about the coaching. They're worried about how much some of the players are still worried about the coaching. But
Yeah.
now it's about how much you can give me to come to your school.
Hmm.
So you can't. So what you're going to start seeing is you're going to start seeing a lot of the coaches that can coach their ass off are going to be taking players that's 3, 4 stars, and they're going to be knocking the dirt off of teams that full of 5-star recruits because those 5-star recruits are all there on that team because they get paid there. They're not growing in their skill set from there. And it's going to start to really start funneling. I won't say, this year was the start of it. I give it another 2 years. It's going to be to where you're going to the mid-major and the lower major routes, unless these schools and the Texas schools, the ones that got that
Oh
long
my
oil, the
God, the
Texas and the
Texas
Florida
schools.
schools where there's no sales tax or anything else on that, you're about to see them flourish. And you're about to start seeing not only a lot of other states and you're going to start seeing a lot of states and municipalities start to adjust because it's going to start affecting their bottom lines for their schools. UC just built that big facility. Do you think UC is going to be able to keep up with the Texas Techs, the Baylors, the Kansases that can divert money from their from there and any of the other schools that's in there after another 3 to 4 years? No.
No, it's gonna get more ridiculous, and it's gonna get more ridiculous because, and it's gonna become more obvious, kind of like with the way people say it's like you can say all you want that sex is not important, but when you seeing it on TV, you seeing it in movies, there's a porn industry making billions and billions of dollars, been doing it for years, but yet you sit up here and talk about, oh, well, education is more important. Focus on the education. Well, I would. But the money in sports say I need to focus on football. I need to focus on basketball or whatever sport can get me however much money or whatever. So
And it's
Um,
going to even and quite honestly, and Drew, to give you a chance to get in there. I know we kind of just
yeah, I
started,
know. We
but
just
That's good.
to even think about it now with now the high school players getting NIL money. You saw one of the biggest caveats of that happen over the weekend. We were just talking about it when I was out of town with Taft and they head coach. Their head coach left to go to North College Hill. His starting quarterback already did transfer to Princeton because Princeton offers NIL money. You're gonna start seeing the players from the what you're gonna start seeing players unless the Cincinnati public school starts getting involved with it. You're gonna start seeing the top players from there going out to the private and to the outer peripheral schools because Cincinnati public's not gonna be able to pay them for it.
True.
And it's going and you and that's going to do is that you're going to start having you've been already looking for a reason to cut funds for school for the public schools here for different things. You're going to start seeing you're going to start seeing sports programs get cut
Sure.
because if I can't keep up the money to keep me up with everybody around there, I'm going to field a flag football team. Because pretty much, if you think about what the Cincinnati public school system was this year, you had Taft and Withrow. Everybody else was nothing, and it was bad. And you missed it, Drew, because one of my coworkers here is assistant coach for Taft. There's a rule in the Ohio High School Athletics Association specifically for Cincinnati Public's Metro League to where you can't score over 59 points on your opponent. If you score over 59 points, they could issue a petition for there to where the head coach for the team that won in the blowout can get suspended for the next game for unsportsmanlike conduct.
That's impressive.
Taft blew out, I think it was West High, and West High's coach
yeah, that's who
filed
it
a
was.
petition
Yeah.
filed a petition against the Ford, trying to get the head coach suspended for the next game for running up the score. They played their last game against Woodward, the full game from the start with a running clock.
Yeah.
That's
It's great.
right. So what are you teaching them with you're not teaching them anything about how to deal with the losses. Now they're not gonna they're unless some benefactor comes in there and drops a whole boatload of money to spread across the schools in order to try to keep their most talented players from there. You about to see Colerain resurge. You about to see Princeton was already there. Winton Woods was already there. You're going to start seeing Northwest resurge. And then you're going to see the Molars, the Elders, the St. X's, and everything else start flourishing in there. And the Masons and everything else. Anybody that's got open enrollment, they about to take off. Because if they got any type of alumni that can funnel money into them, just like these colleges with their alumni basis that's funneling money to them, their top players is going to go there. Now, will they be better? No, because unless you got a talented coach, I can offer you $5 million. Shit's still shit.
Right. So starting from the beginning and talking about how NIL is going to really affect everything. What college football really needs is a players association and a union and a way to regulate money. Because if you are able to just outbid for a player in the transfer portal and they have these two windows that are open between, you have
one now.
One right now, and then right before spring ball hits, you have a second.
They took that out with this year. This is the only window this year.
Oh, thank goodness! But yeah, so now you still have the bidding options now. You don't get it until maybe later or whatever it is, and it's like, okay, but how much money do you need as a college student? Like, I understand name, image, and likeness, and the ability for the players to get paid for their performances. Okay, all well and good. I'm good with it. I'm happy they're getting paid because at least now it's not against NCAA policy, and you can't suspend players for improper benefits and things like that. So your sport stays a little more honest, I guess. It keeps people a little more honest. You have to tell them how much money you're getting paid, as opposed to Oh, you mean your uncle got an envelope 2 weeks ago that from some random donor that was, for you for school, but nobody's allowed to know about it. A lot of underhand dealing and stuff like that back in 30, 40 years ago. SMU problems, things like that. You get death penalty. Now you're avoiding all of that, which is great. But now they move the pendulum so far to the other side that it's almost uncontrollable at this point. You need to have some kind of union, some kind of representation for the entire student body as a whole. So if you want to separate it out into the college football union, college basketball union, college baseball union, okay, you can do all of that because all the athletes can get paid. So if you have these unions for the sports itself, football being the biggest one, you need to regulate it in some way, some manner, just so it doesn't turn into these giant bidding wars. And then you see it cascade like you already have down into the high school levels, where now you have, what does a high school senior need to make $350,000 a year for?
There's no reason.
I'm sorry.
There's no reason.
Trust
but
me,
it's
like being from a school where football was the closest thing you got to a religion, right next to religion class.
mm-hmm.
It's great. I would love the ability to pay some of the players. And when I say pay some of the players, make it so, I don't know. Some people work part-time jobs. Some people work full-time jobs, whether they're in high school or whatever, different circumstances and different things. Right. So, okay, these kids, there's no way these kids can keep up with an education, part-time job, and be a full-time football star for their team. So, okay, you want to treat it like a part-time job and give them some money during the season so they don't have, money struggles.
Mm-hmm.
Treat it like a part-time job. Okay, great. You can pay them minimum wage times 25 hours a week, and here's your pay for being a football player. Okay, wonderful. You can make whatever caveats you want, but you have to, there has to be a limit. You have to set limits. And that's the thing the NCAA has refused to do, is set a limit for players to make X amount of dollars a year.
And you know why that is. You know why the NCAA want to do it. They don't want to open up their books to federal regulators for it. Because where we're sitting up here talking about the millions of dollars that's getting divvied up from these players in there from these benefactors, they're making billions.
Oh yeah,
off of these players from
at the top 15 schools in the nation, just by, and I'm not saying like rating wise, I'm saying by popularity wise, you don't think they're making over $1 billion just on football alone? You're saying
no, I'm saying
so much
across, because you got to think about it. Some of these schools, if you go into a Texas or Oklahoma or a Michigan in there it's multiple schools. They got their volleyball teams, their gymnastics, their soccer, their baseball, their basketball, and their football, all generating revenue to where they're in those World Series championship tournaments.
Which technically, if you choose to, you can actually watch on ESPN. Actually,
yeah. And so they all are getting that cut from it.
Known sports are getting the recognition and the pay, which is wonderful. But again, while football college football is my favorite sport, I understand that the loose regulations and the absolute wild west that it is right now is not good long term for the health of the sport, for the health of the competition of the sport.
Mm-mm.
It's just not there, because like you said, in the next 3 to 4 years, these schools that have deep alumni pockets, think about long shot schools, right? That have deep pockets. BYU, long shot school that has deep pockets. USC is a good coach away from national titles. They have location, they have money, and once they get a head coach, they're going to have a team that is worthwhile on the field. Lincoln Riley is not the coach.
No,
He's a quality coach, and he's with the transfer portal, he was good because he got a lot of guys to buy in for free. But once you have to start paying these guys, you go, well, I don't like his system. I don't like you look back at his past and you just go, it's just not for me. I'm going to go to Texas. I'm going to go to Texas A&M. I'm going to go to Florida instead. And that's where Lincoln kind of falls short. I think Lincoln Riley is a good coach. He's just not the right fit for this NIL landscape.
No, and that's why you saw people like Saban get out.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he was like, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with those things. And it's funny how he got out because I think with his age and how the landscape was changing, he didn't want to stay a part of that. But all the people that were younger than him that came up in his coaching tree is like, okay, what we gotta learn. We in this.
Yeah.
And they are starting to thrive in that. And that's what makes it to where it's not the control factor. The control factors needed to been there for a long period of time. But nobody wants control when they own pockets guy wants control in anything if they own pockets guy get looked at. And that's part of the reason why they haven't tried to push for the control or push for the unions and stuff. And then with the unions, you have to be leery of the agents that's also involved trying to put their influence into the student's ear in order to get things with that. I saw something over the weekend to where in tennis, where Novak Djokovic had helped start the Players Association with them. He's now suing them because people got involved. He's left being involved with it, and now he's suing them because people let their agents start getting involved, and it started going completely left of what the interest was that it was when he helped start it. Right. So it has to be. For me, I don't like government oversight. I've never been a fan of government oversight in certain things, but this is one to where if they are getting federal student loans and everything else in order to copy for that, this might be one of them where you're going to have to step in. Because if people that don't have no interest whatsoever in sports or in football are paying their money for it, and then they turn around and next thing you know, it's going towards XYZ.
Exactly. Yeah. And you're hitting. We're all clamoring for a change. The only thing that's ever going to change is if the NCAA comes out and actually puts in hard rules. What is an amateur athlete? How do they maintain their amateur status? Get agents out, because once you hire an agent, you're no longer a amateur, you're now a professional, whatever that language is going to look like. And they need to take a hard stand on it, because otherwise this is really going to get out of control. And you're going to see the overspending on athletes. The Underwood in Michigan is a prime example. He wants even more money to stick around next year. And somebody out more money.
Underwood.
Yeah.
You see that?
More money to stay at Michigan.
Underwood wants more money. Again,
let him go. Let him go.
You know how I am, and you know how I am when it comes to UC. Sorsby got $5 million to go to Texas Tech.
Yeah,
$5 million.
Me and you talked about Underwood. And
I know.
Let him go.
Let him go.
But because of the rating that he had and the talent that he showed beforehand, somebody's gonna pay him that money.
Yeah, somebody can pay him that money. Michigan bet not pay him half. No.
Michigan already got another quarterback coming in.
Good, because you know how I am. I try to be fair and understanding, and me and you had a real conversation about him, and got a little over 30 seconds left, so I'll try to make this quick. We talked about people need to, while they sit up here analyzing whether it's because of the scrambling or whether it's because of giving people a chance. Be careful and be easy on we need more black this and black that. I'm sorry. I've seen more impressive black quarterbacks, and the one thing that I know about Michigan, me being a fan, we've tried it twice. Uh-uh. it hasn't worked. They don't look they
Doesn't last. It doesn't.
it's not something that will work. And if you really want to get technical, even in the league, yeah, they bring forth great entertainment value, but no, you're not seeing them as champions. You're not. So and so to sit up here and to get all this bravado about they deserve a chance this, they deserve a chance that, uh um I can respect the reasons behind it, but at the end of the day, everything says that doesn't need to be something that doesn't need to be part of why it's looked at. Let it be looked at because it's going to fit in the system and it's going to get you to the championships like you're supposed to do. I don't care if you're college, I don't care if you're pros, I don't care if you're high school, I don't care if you're Pee Wee League, I don't care if you're middle school. I don't care. Yes, everybody deserves a chance. Yes, making that be one of the specific reasons it has to be in there. No, that shouldn't be it.
No.
Give everybody a chance. Just give everybody a chance. If they ain't it, they ain't it.
Right.
And I'm sorry. In Michigan, they've tried it twice. If I'm not mistaken, they had a black quarterback when they lost to Appalachian State. No.
That was he was
No.
on. I forgot what his name was because he was on the cover of the last NCAA game before they stopped it.
Yeah.
Denard Robinson.
Denard. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't it either.
That was a wide receiver running back combo. So
Yeah.
he's
All right.
heck, man, and yeah, like I'm glad that you know that I'm glad when quarterbacks get their shot, regardless of where
Right.
it is. And that's the thing I do like about the transfer portal is, hey, you know what? I think I competed well enough to win this job, but I didn't. Let me hop in the portal and go somewhere that my competition level is going to exceed what they're looking for. Now I'm going to get my chance.
Right.
Because maybe they, I mean, like for me, if you look at, I think that if Carson Beck in Miami was still with Georgia, I don't know if the outcome was any different for Georgia playing Ole Miss this year. I don't think he makes Georgia better and beating Ole Miss, but I do believe, and I know for a fact that he makes Miami a lot better.
Oh yeah, because he gives them consistent quarterback. He gives them that quarterback play that
and they know how to do complimentary where they don't put everything on him. The times that they put everything on him, you saw what it was. Exactly what he was in Georgia was exactly what he was in Miami. So as long as they made sure that the running game that it was running game passing, and then which technically that's what all teams should do, but I digress because we need to move on to the bowl games. And let's go ahead. Let's start that right now. So, how does everybody feel about the bowl games? We found out a lot of things about a lot of teams from a lot of conferences. When they went up against certain teams, especially the SEC. The SEC took a shellacking.
I think the SEC as a league took this huge step back, and you're going to see this evening out, and then the back end or what was considered the back end or the low end of the SEC is going to start rising because Alabama, Georgia, they're receding back to the median. And I'm not saying that they're going to be bad. It's because all these other teams with the NIL money, with their donors, are going to start getting those better players in. And, a team that can galvanize, like Ole Miss galvanized. I mean, they galvanized in spite of. Prove that they are not Lane Kiffin dependent. And so they played from behind. They came back and they won. Great game. Amazing.
That was amazing game.
I don't see how they, they're on paper they should have lost. Every analyst would have told you they should have lost because Lane Kiffin was the mastermind behind the reason these players were in the position to play so well. And the players came out and they said, no, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. And we're going to show you that you're wrong. Not only are we going to play what everybody thinks is maybe the best team. I mean, people really honestly thought Georgia was
going to take it. Yeah.
They should have been 2, maybe even 1.
Because Georgia was quietly, because of the previous years and
right.
Georgia not being what everybody expected, they got to quietly just go through their season and do what they did. So in terms of like we were talking about experience and what we're used to, then they became the next man up. These guys, this is what we're used to seeing. So Georgia must gonna be the one, because clearly Ohio State's out, and like, okay, Georgia. Well, Georgia's out.
Yeah. Well, here's and I think we touched on this in our conversations as well. Is that bye week is really detrimental.
That bye week is the stupidest thing that I've ever seen.
3 weeks though. 3 weeks.
Or some of them was 4.
Not great.
Right.
Because you have to think about it. If the season, and this goes into something that I messaged you guys over the weekend. The conference championships are done. It's not helping your teams.
Nope.
You're getting one more game to where you can bring in all your big wigs and let them play. You're not selling out the stadiums that you're playing in for it. So you letting them play in it. And then if they win and you were upper echelon, hey, you know what you just did? You just cost your team that first round in the bowl game.
Yeah.
And for what? For you to get, again, the money. You're not make the money through the playoff. Don't worry about the conference tournament. Because if you think about it, you're not already, the conference championship already is not guaranteeing you to get into the tournament. Look at Duke.
Right.
So it's like, what are you making it? And then not even being funny. Look at Duke, look at James Madison, look at Tulane.
Well, they messed that whole thing up. I'm sorry. However, most of the conferences do the thing, that's the way all of them should do it, or they should not be involved. If you want to make up your own way of making your conference championship game, then no, you cannot be a part of the playoff.
It should be a carte blanche. It should be carte blanche across the board. What it should be for that conference tournament.
So if Miami and whoever else that had the better record, let me see if I can find it.
It was Miami, and if you call him devil's advocate, for as much as they was on the advertisements during the damn game, it was Miami and Notre Dame.
But Notre Dame's not in the ACC.
But no. We talked about that. They decide check. We talked about that.
But here's the thing, right? But Drew, here's the crazy part. That entire game for Miami during when they were showing all the ACC stuff, Notre Dame's mascot or their demographic was on every single one of them during the football game. Because I know you're doing the whole ACC as a whole.
I figured out why though.
I
think it's because of the basketball side of it.
Right.
The basketball side of it is actually in it, so technically you have to.
But that still is shady as shit, because you ain't gonna back me up in order for me to get into the playoffs to where I'm making you money as the side chick, because it ain't like I'm not gonna slide you something for my affiliation for getting in here.
I can't.
But I can't tell you up front that I'm doing this. It's under the table. It's under the table for you, bud.
This is my main girl, man. I can't down my main girl. This
right, but then you taking photos
with
taking photos with the main chick and the side chick in the same thing. We all would be a happy family.
That's pimping. That's pimping right at its finest.
And I got a fix for that problem, and it leaves Notre Dame out in the cold, because if like people were talking about how Texas was punished for playing a hard non-conference schedule and losing non-conference games.
They were
punished for that. And it's like, okay, if you change that to a point system So you get points for wins, lose points for losses. But if you play a Power 5 at a conference, you can't lose points. You actually get a point. So if you lose, you get a point. If you win, you get 3 because you're playing.
And you know what? When you said that, when you sent that to us through the chat, that is similar to what they're doing with the NCAA's right now with the basketball sides with the quad system.
Yeah.
You get rated for your victories in this quadrant. You get rated for your victories in this quadrant. You get rated where if you got a victory in the quadrant that you're sitting in currently from it, it's kind of like even. You get deducted if you lose to a lower quadrant.
Right.
And it was it was a little quieter on the basketball side. I will give you that.
It has been because
it's a little quieter on the basketball side.
And the reason why it's like that on the basketball side is because that whole quadrant system is weekly. They're putting out there, this is where you are.
Yep.
Yes, it is weekly from it. They put it out there based off your strength of schedule.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at something else. Apparently the Notre Dame ain't the only side chick when it comes to college football, and I didn't know.
SMU?
The Huskies.
That's independent?
Oh, yeah.
UConn? Yeah. UConn's independent because they actually folded their football program.
Yeah, and they just brought it back because they folded their program after the Big East folded into the straight basketball.
I believe Army is the other independent, I believe.
Is it Army or Navy?
One of the two. One of the two is independent. It's one of those two are independents. But and if you go, well, you guys have to join a conference, and you go, oh, okay, fine. They'll just slide over into, I want to tell you what the American. I mean, it's not that big a deal.
AAC.
No. They need to, if they want to make sure that they don't go through this crap. And quite frankly, I've been tired of hearing about this. And since they had Lou Holtz and they were pummeling my Wolverines every year. Their defense was just pummeling and knocking them all over the field very brutally and painfully. It was painful to watch. I digress.
Nice to watch.
They should join the big conferences. That way, it totally knocks it all out. If you jump into the SEC and you end up in a situation where you 10-2, guess what? There's going to be little to no argument. If you go over to the ACC, people going to try to use that against you. If you want to make sure that it's not used against you, you either got to jump in and dominate the Big Ten or jump in and dominate the SEC. If you want to make sure.
What happens if Notre Dame jumps in and dominates the crap out of the new Pac-12?
Then people go try to use that against him.
Now, if you do that, are you using the quadrant system or just using it based off of how it is now? Because if you're using it off of how it is now, they've already blown up a couple of the connections that they've had that made it to where they would have got a bump. The games against USC.
I know they're gonna use the Pac-12 against you because there's only 2 teams there at this point.
But next season they merge with the Mountain West.
It'll have 12 next year.
Yeah, it'll have it in there.
It's all the states, basically. It's all the state schools. So you're gonna have Utah State and San Diego State and
so it'll be a entry level AAC.
I think it's gonna be higher.
Air Force,
below
Nevada, Wyoming, like you said, Colorado State, San Jose State. No. All I hear is excuse Central. No.
But that gives them a conference.
So in your
so does going to the ACC, SEC, or the
legit SEC, Big 10, Big 12. Would Big 12 be acceptable for another
Big 12?
They gonna need
Big 12 would be.
I think
barely
enough.
Barely.
Barely.
ACC, honestly.
It was, but it would be barely because you're dealing with
Your top end of your Big 12 is better. Your top end, if you wash out the top end of both the Big 12 and the ACC, your middle tier down, the Big 12 I feel is better than
Oh
the
yeah, oh
bottom
yeah. If you're
thirds of the
because
conference.
realistically,
The Big 12's better.
Yeah, they're
right,
scrappy. Yeah,
realistically in the
they're
AA,
scrappy. They're going to be excellent games, and they're scrappy. But
Yeah.
to completely quiet the noise, no other
for Notre Dame to
conferences.
for Notre Dame with no excuses, it has to be Big Ten, or it had shit. Realistically, it has to be Big Ten. That
Big
would be
Ten,
the only.
yeah, Big Ten
See, I don't think that the SEC would be a favorable for Notre Dame at all. I
No, because
don't.
the academic.
Yeah, they're just not. They focus. They still try to focus too much on the academics.
Yeah,
Notre Dame to be competitive with a team like LSU, who just signs checks and brings whatever they want, wherever they want, whenever they want, and that's
hmm
football.
and I get that's part of the reason why they want to stay independent.
SEC. I think Notre Dame, with how tough it would be in the SEC for them to win, you're going to see them be almost a 500 team every year because of how hard some of these places are to go and play.
Yeah.
You go down to LSU, you go down to Alabama, you go down to Florida. You're not going to win all the time. You could end up with a 500 season real easy, real fast. In the first half of your season, you lose 4 games, and it's just because it's not like any other play. It's not the Coliseum,
no,
not
it's
the
not.
big house. They can play in those areas and they can play in those situations because they're kind of used to it. Death Valley, there is nothing like it. Like there just isn't. I'm sorry.
I know, I
It's
know,
it's just like
I'm
you.
sorry. This works for spiciness for me. Just Notre Dame, just bringing the teams they have. Quit being the side chick.
Sure.
Be the main thing, and whether it's the Big Ten or the SEC,
I think the big
them make for some spicy games. And then if they do dominate, like example, if they do manage to dominate, like at the most games they lose three. Okay, if you do anything like Alabama, and especially in the SEC, because like I pointed out to him, everybody tends to forget that the other thing that they don't really talk about, they didn't talk about it back then until the noise just really got big because there was not only one team that people didn't feel should be in got in, but then a bunch of teams that people but who they were playing, most of the games they played, they mostly played ranked opponents. And say what you want about Alabama, but if you go back and you look, the only one that fell out of being ranked but was ranked at the time was Florida State. Everybody else they played
yeah.
managed to figure out a way to stay ranked, and they played at least 8 ranked teams compared to everybody else that was playing at the most 3.
The teams that bothered me getting Tulane and James Madison. Those are the two teams that bothered me getting in.
That makes sense.
And it's not because they didn't deserve the praise and it didn't play hard enough or well enough or any of those things. It
Yeah, for the level of the teams
uh,
that they played, I watched a couple of James Madison games. They was for that level of their conference, they were the truth. So yeah,
Yeah,
you put them in no-win
yeah.
situations. You gave them a chance, and that's great. I'm glad that you do that. At the same time, though, I would rather see those two seeds get eliminated, condense. You lose 2 bye weeks. You lose 2 byes. So you top two get byes, and then you have the rest of your games played. Or if you're gonna do that, we need to add 2 more spots so we can eliminate two. We can eliminate 2 byes. Your top two get byes, and then you have more games to play. And then you could put Tulane and James Madison against each other.
To make them to give them an opportunity to show that they have some
Yeah,
type of
give
value
them a
to it.
competitive game their first round out. The higher seed gets all of that money because that's a home game. You get a
or
lot of money there coming into
yeah,
your stadium, and you get a really competitive, great game to watch, as opposed to, oh, I gotta watch my team go to Ole Miss and get just
Oh,
obliterated.
raced.
I gotta see my team go to Oregon and get the brakes beat off of them. That's no fun for anybody.
It's
Like
not.
even
That's
Oregon
old school the way it
are
used to be in
yep,
college basketball. They let everybody into the tournament and
sure,
you systematically watched them get brutalized.
sure.
Yes.
But the tournament, well, that's the thing is the basketball tournament and the football are two totally different monsters because basketball you really can't. It's minute to minute in basketball. You get hot and you play good defense.
You got a shot.
Your basketball team has a shot to go up by.
No, I only compared that just because of the fact of the way we noticed the difference in teams. That's
Sure.
the way it used to be once upon a time. I was just only comparing that similarity. I
Oh, I
know
got
I know yeah. It
yeah.
was like way back when the teams were disciplined, you knew they was playing some school like Tulane. You were like, you know what? If unless you just really love basketball and just wanted to watch the game, you know it was gonna be a blowout. You wasn't gonna watch it.
Right.
Now me, I'm gonna watch it because I want to watch all the games. I've been like that since I was a little
I
kid.
like,
That didn't just happen. I've always been like that. If it's a basketball game on, I want to watch it. Now there are other games that I would want to watch even more. Yes. But if I'm in the house and basketball is on, yeah, I'm turning it on. Heck, you done heard me, Jay. I'll sit up here and tell you I was watching the game, and I'm sure somewhere in your head you was like, why were you watching that game? That there was nobody.
looking
You're
at it
like, what the heck were you bored? What is you doing?
I'm
Like, what the heck? Of all things, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. You're watching a replay of what?
Right.
it's live in India at 4 a.m. Just let you know.
Jesus Christ.
Like, yeah, man, I love the sport. That's right.
So
Yeah.
let's go back to the bowl games here. And it yeah, like Texas Tech showed you that not playing and not facing any real adversity in their schedule in the regular season didn't help in their bowl game. Oregon came into proving something because James Madison scored 34 on them. Oregon's like
They was embarrassed.
play defense, and we that ratcheted that up a little bit more. And I think because BYU did not put a competitive game against Texas Tech in either the regular season or the conference championship game, Texas Tech. Now, I'm not saying that they're soft or they were bad. I'm just saying that they didn't know what to do when they lined up against a team that can do whatever they want on the field.
Right. And,
Or
and 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 the only reason I was making that face, you know that old saying, there's levels to this.
sure,
Kind of like with the TCU situation. The
yes,
NCAA knew for years, yeah, they going undefeated. They not ready for this.
right,
The teams that Texas Tech played against for that level of that conference,
sure.
yeah,
Other
but there was nobody in there. BYU, they were always slow starting on offense. Their defense would live and die by what the offense did. They would play you hard most of the game, but if they offense didn't eventually turn on, then you could even take their defense out of the box. And that's why Texas Tech being what they were, that's why they didn't beat them neither time where they dominated most of the other teams that were scrappy, the Arizonas, the Kansas States. They dominated those guys because they couldn't quite they couldn't get over the hump of the defense, so that gave the offense time to find a spot and
right,
and win the game. So I feel like it's a level type
sure.
level type situation to it, and they were not ready,
Nope.
and it is what it is. But again, can I get your opinion on this, Drew? Because I asked Jay this last week.
Sure.
Um, have you watched any bowl games outside of the playoff? And did you notice that a lot of these teams that we wouldn't want in the playoff because we know what it would look like against the bigger teams when they played each other,
Yes, I ended up watching a lot of a good amount of bowl games. The best bowl game that I saw was the Citrus Bowl, hands down. Texas, Michigan, that was maybe one of the best games that I've seen from a execution standpoint, but also effort standpoint for both the teams, because they just went out to show, hey, we maybe deserved a little bit more respect in the rankings. Texas went out to say, you know what, you guys messed up. Yeah, okay, we had 3 losses.
And
Look
and
what we're about to go do to
and
a Power Five contender this year. And Michigan said, you know what, we're going to go out here and yeah, okay, we had a lot of media BS happen and a lot of negative things happen, but we're still a quality school, quality program. We're worth investing in, as you know, for the recruits that are coming in. They still wanted to put this quality game out there to say, hey, you know what, we're still worth investing in. Still keep coming. We have a great coach that we just signed. We're changing the culture. We want you to be part of that change. And look at what we're putting out on the field. We're still trying. They didn't mail it in. Yeah, they scored 27 on a Texas defense that was coming down the stretch, playing great.
and they did what I saw
Yeah,
saw a lot of other teams do to Underwood, pressure bust pipes.
yeah.
And he ended up
He threw, I think, with three interceptions, I think, that game.
yeah,
But
yeah. And
the last one that ended the game for them was his he bailed out his offensive line by throwing that interception. Had he taken just the sack, the offensive line would have been blamed for that loss. But he bailed his offensive line out by making poor decisions and feeling the pressure and
playing here, trying to be a hero. Being a hero does not help most people.
And that's okay. I did not get a chance to watch the Iowa Vanderbilt game, but I'm very happy that Vanderbilt lost. I did watch the day where
I watched it. Oh boy, did I watch it!
Awesome. I guess it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy.
Right.
that dipwad. I'm sorry.
Especially seeing that the ironic part that I did not know, he badmouthed Iowa earlier in the season. That's what either he badmouthed Iowa or he badmouthed the Big Ten. I'll have to try.
He badmouthed Indiana a lot. But he's one of those guys, and he's actually suing the NCAA for another year of eligibility. So
because he know he screwed up. He's doing that, and I get him for doing that. But he's going to the perfect place. If you go and you show out during the combine, you're going to the Raiders. Go be a Raider. You fit. Just
questionable talent.
We got about 5 minutes left, and then we gonna really get spicy and talk about all the firings and all the get as much as we can get. Oh yeah, we're the NFL. Oh my God.
And speaking of the ACC champion, Duke and Arizona State was another really great game that I watched. They just put points up, and it came down to the last second. Great.
Dang it! I missed that game, and I
wanted
to watch it.
That was a great game.
I wanted to watch it.
Now, was anybody okay? I was surprised that Alabama didn't run out and just put everything that they possibly could into the cannon and just fire it out.
You know what? They deserved that loss.
Good, but
they deserved that loss.
Oh yeah, they played terrible. They played absolutely terrible.
Nothing says disrespect like what he pulled in the second quarter.
Yeah.
That weird thing with the we're gonna do this. Oh wait, we're gonna do that. Call the timeout. Wait, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. And Signetti is looking over. They showed him on camera just looking over, like you could literally see him looking over at the other side, like, you really disrespecting us like that.
And that's when Signetti sat there and said, "You know what? Breaks, BTA, BTA time. Let's go."
Dude. Remember, Jay, I told you, I'm like, I hope they score 60. I was like, no,
It was
don't disrespect.
you
Come on,
And
I
man.
don't
get out of his lane, and he doesn't allow himself to get beat by himself. Signetti stays very, very much, okay, this is my game plan. I'm going to stay inside my game plan. If we need to make adjustments, we make adjustments. But I'm not going to allow you and your weird stuff to pull me out of my comfort zone. I we're if we're in a cruise mode and I have to hit the gas pedal, it's easy for me to hit the gas pedal. If I need to bring the kids back, I can bring the kids back, and he's very in tune with his team. And I Alabama, I
And
think
they turned it on. They turned it on, and they turned everything on. They unleashed the defense. Had Ty Simpson having all kinds of
until they broke his rib.
right.
It
And then you let him keep playing. That's why I don't like hurt players playing. Because I don't want to hear nothing about you was hurt while we were still in. You're a quarterback. You need to be able to throw. You need to be able to breathe. If you got a hurt rib, you ain't doing nothing. Get your butt over there on the sideline and sit there and just deal with it. No, you let him finish out the second quarter from the moment it happened, and then you brought him in out back out in the third, and then all of a sudden that was another thing. That was another thing that just screamed. Well, actually, it might not be fair to say that it screamed disrespect to Indiana. That might be a little unfair of me, even though to some extent, I feel like he didn't put forth his best effort to do everything right because it was Indiana, and I don't care who it is. If I'm a
well,
fan of them, not a fan of them, don't disrespect your opponent, or you deserve everything you get. Just
and I think Kalen DeBoer is going to be fired after next year. I don't think he makes another without winning without making it a finals appearance. I think that he can save his job by making the college football playoff finals.
unless he wants a
So
revolt, he has to win. There ain't no
I,
just making it there.
I
He has to win.
job and reload for one more year. So if he goes to the finals next year and doesn't win, he'll get one more year to reload and go back. And if he doesn't win, then he's gone. So at most, you're going to see 2 years. If he doesn't win in the next 2 years, he's gone. I think he saves his job next year by going to the finals and convincingly losing losing a very close game where one side of the ball is going to shine for him, and it has to shine really bright because he's going to only get one side of the ball. He's not going to get both. I think that he's going to lean real heavy into the offense, especially his passing offense again. He's going to bring his rushing game from mediocre to a little better than mediocre. And I think they're going to win a lot of games next year. And I do think that they're going to make they can't take the bye though. They can't have a bye. They need to finish 5-9 and play all the way through. Otherwise,
Yeah,
first,
you're riding a slippery slope though playing that game, unfortunately.
so,
And
but that's
with that, Andrew, I'll let you get your last say, but is how they say it's time to move on. Go ahead and make that last statement real quick.
so all I was going to say is that I keep betting against Miami, and I guess I'm going to stop betting against Miami.
no, you don't. They done after this week.
Dude.
They're done after this week. It's
Miami,
gonna be.
I'm going to take Miami, and I'm going to take Oregon, and just because I think it's going to be tough for Indiana to beat Dan Campbell or to beat not Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell's up in Detroit. That's not who I was to. But I think it's going to be tough for Indiana to beat Oregon twice this season. I think that Oregon has a lot to prove, and I think that that's going to be a really great game. But I think in the end, it's going to be Miami versus Oregon in the title game.
If Oregon gets past Indiana, and this is not, I'm taking my Oregon fandom out of the picture for this. If Oregon beats Indiana, Oregon's finally gonna win their national title.
I don't see a reason they wouldn't, but again,
I don't.
for whatever, I keep underestimating Miami for some stupid reason that they keep they keep giving me a reason to bet on them. So I'm gonna ride them for this week. If they play Oregon, I don't see a reason why I would pick Miami over Oregon. So I'm gonna take Oregon to win the whole thing. But again, I didn't expect Miami to.
You expect Carson Beck to do something Carson Beck.
Points. I did. That was
Not if they don't put everything on him. They
won. Miami winning didn't bother me. It was how they systematically beat Ohio State and kept them to 14 points. You kept two of the best wide receivers, two of the best running backs, and the highest completion percentage quarterback to 14 points.
But see, but that.
and
we're gonna have to do a bonus one on this one. Because
yeah.
the only reason why I'm saying this when I say this was when Ohio State got to that Big Ten championship game. The first thing I said was, besides Texas, who did they play, even out of the Big Ten, that would have made it to where that was a challenge to even those wide receivers that was there.
Sure.
The first secondary that they went to that actually could be somewhat incompetitive to them was Indiana. What did Indiana do? Once he changed what their scheme was back there on those corners, they shut them down that second half. And all they did was give Miami the blueprint to go look at that film and come in there and say, we have that talent that's back there. Plus, we got edge rushers.
Plus Bain and Mesidor are
right. We got edge rushers that we can drop 7 back and cover it. We got 4 that will go to work. And that whole first half, they did that until that second half when Ohio State started running.
Yeah, the thing that bothered me is that Ohio State didn't pivot to different weapons. They said, "Oh, we're gonna force it and we're gonna make it." It's like, no. You have 3 tight ends, 2 of which are great pass catchers,
and you didn't use them.
Great running backs. You need to use that, and that's the problem that I have with head coaches being play callers. And Ryan Day.
Thank you.
He's not good at it. He needs
and you know what made me crack up laughing when it happened? As soon as they announced that Day was running the play calling, but Hartenstein was still on the sideline, I said they lost.
Yeah.
Why are you calling the plays in your OC? I don't give a fuck if he's going off to another school.
Because he kind of, according to the pundits, the rumor was that he felt like because he was trying to balance the team and where he was going to, he felt like that may have had something to do with why they lost to Indiana.
Maybe.
Okay, but if that's the case, then you got Ole Miss that had almost all of their assistant coaches still coaching with their team and still kicking ass. That's not an excuse. That's a power trip.
I want you guys to understand. Ryan Day almost got fired because he was a play caller. The only reason
he exactly
gave it up.
You went from being a play caller, almost getting fired, hiring Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly left, went to the Raiders, didn't last a full season, and then added Hartenstein. Hartenstein got a job out of it.
Brian Hartline was still calling the I guarantee you Ohio State would be playing this week.
Yes. I will not dispute that at all. Because the rumors started coming out about him possibly going to Cal right during that Big Ten championship. Yeah. And Ryan Day got his panties in a bunch and sat there and said, you know what? I'm going to call the plays. If you're going to leave me to go somewhere else, I'm going to take the playbook and I'm going to do it my own way. And Hartenstein was like, all right.
Yeah, Hartline. And I like Brian Hartline a lot. I think he's going to.
I do too.
Back in Columbus as the head coach of the Buckeyes in a couple years. I think he's going to come back and be the head coach. And he's going to be one of those head coaches that does it well, that coaches and plays and calls plays well. And
he'll have the balance that Day has never seemed to have.
I don't understand why Ryan Day is incapable of calling a full game as a head offensive coordinator, because that's what he was. He was the offensive coordinator, and then before he got promoted. But it was like even he wasn't that great of a coordinator.
No, he overthinks it.
No,
You can tell
but
by the
even
way that the from his play calling. If you see, I'm a simple play caller from looking at it. If I see that they're loading 6, 7, 8 in the box, I'm going over the top, or I'm play action in order to go over the top. He'll see 6, 7, 8 in the box and say, I'm going to run a halfback draw.
right,
Because my line that hasn't shown me that they can block anybody, because the two ends for Miami's been in my quarterback's lap all game. Oh no, I'm
right,
gonna trust it. I'm gonna trust it now. And he got some
and
off
and
on there with those
and even
draws in that court.
and
But
even
after
when they
that,
weren't, even when they managed not to be, because they were going around and opening up the middle of the field, then some of their other guys got to feast.
right.
So yeah, so I don't know how completely convinced I would be on that, because even when they would over pursue and go around saying, usually there was somebody else coming because you had too many people trying to keep up with Mesidor and Bain. So I don't
What
know
did
if
Ryan Day? What
but
did Ryan position did Ryan Day play?
he was a quarterback. He was a
What
quarterback at like
what
D3.
type of offense?
What?
I'm trying to think, what type of offense was he the quarterback in when he was in college?
Oh,
Because
I probably just a traditional drop back under center. I'm pretty sure he played. I'm pretty sure he played quarterback. I think he was at maybe Old Dominion, maybe.
that's I'm looking it up. We can keep going. I'll pull it back up because
all right.
that
So
right
so
there just made
with
me think about it.
and with that, we are going to move
Oh,
over to
he
the
was.
NFL, because it's saucy time. It's super saucy time. That got especially
This wasn't
spicy.
really a saucy day. To me, it wasn't. I was a lot of the firings that happened. You kind of expected. The only one that I was pissed off about, you already know why.
Yep. Yep. As soon as
And
I heard them say it, I went, "Oh
no,
boy."
did you see now? We'll talk about everything else, and then we'll get to the Bungles.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. All right. Now, obviously this week, this season, this season, how the heck? I've heard of speaking things into being. I've heard of getting lucky every once in a while. And I've never been this right in my life about football. Maybe about certain players. Maybe I'll have it, but not the entire league as a whole. Like you literally did not know. I said you don't know what's coming. That just keeps going through my head. I'm like, look, y'all, let's be honest. I know I was doing my worst case scenario thing, but I just didn't realize how true it was going to be, that this was going to happen this way. That you didn't know. You don't know who's going to win the division for real. You didn't know who was going to be good and who was going to be bad, because these people are doing this and they improved here and they improved there. So you got to at least give it a chance to blossom and play out. And it's like, and then I'm sitting up here, I'm making my picks, and Jay's making his picks, and we're going, wait, we lost what? Huh? Who? Was somebody sick? Did their bowels like explode on the field? I mean, how did I lose that game? And
Drew, you want to hear what the funniest thing about this whole NFL season was?
Absolutely.
Me and Dante have gone through every single week and did our picks. How did we end up tied? We both finished 171, 101. It came down to
the
the game
Steelers,
last night.
the Steelers.
I picked Baltimore
Yeah.
because I'm never going to pick the Steelers unless I absolutely have to.
Right.
He picked Baltimore. I'm up a game. And I sent him a picture of the screenshot with all of the stats and said, it comes down to this. Either we end up tied or I win by 2. Got to the end of the game. I'm sitting up here. I'm like, I just had won my fantasy league. So I'm already sitting up there playing. We are the champions in the background there. And I'm like, oh, they didn't got the ball back. That fourth down play. They get it there. I'm like, yes, they about to kick the field goal. 2 seconds left. I'm about to win. And then when he kicked the ball, I said, this son of a gun just hooked it right. As soon as the ball left his foot, you saw it go, Meow.
Right. Now, here's the thing. Because they spent all day on all the shows having that argument about not blaming Lamar. And I'm tired. I'm sick and I'm tired of that of 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 that being a thing. If everybody else can get blamed, even though you know all the details, oh, well, the line wasn't that great, but still, they're supposed to figure it out and power through. When you call them elite, you call them elite. You call them the best in the NFL. They're supposed to power through, and they're supposed to take their team. And if they don't do that, then we're gonna let them have it. Except when it's Lamar, then we can blame everybody in a 2 mile radius so that we don't have to blame him, the MVP. I'm tired of that narrative. I mean, and don't get me wrong. I understand the fact that he played good last night. He didn't have a fumble. He didn't throw an interception. But here's what I also know. That first half, Pittsburgh did everything they could to give Baltimore that game, and it was pissing me off. You're going for it on fourth, and the score is 0-0. When correct me if I'm wrong, because I wasn't actually watching the game because I was driving. Can't watch TV. Can't watch the game and drive. But I
Oh,
was listening on them times that he went for fourth. Couldn't they have gone for a field goal? Correct me if I'm wrong. At least once.
got to trust your
Yeah.
kick.
And then so you gave them a short field twice, and that was the only reason that your defense, that has been considered not that great, held them to 10 points. And the only reason they got them 10 points, every time you made them go the length of the field, they always had to kick the ball back to you. So if you hadn't gone for it on fourth and not gotten it, that's 10 points they wouldn't have had.
True.
True.
So in light of that,
So
and
is
I'm sitting
that
up here and
coaching?
I'm listening to it, and I'm like, they giving away the game. And Tomlin pissed me off because the lady at halftime goes, how do you feel about not going for the points? It was like, he's like, what do you mean? We're trying to win the game. How you trying to win the game and you have opportunity to score points? Granted, it is 3, but you could have at least had 6 to 9 points.
Add up.
You could have had 6 to 9 points, and if you had kicked it to them every time and made them go the length of the field, your defense was doing just enough, because out of all the times Henry ran, he only had 2 big runs in the first half.
Yeah.
He only
Yeah.
had 2 big runs. Other than that, it was 1 yard, 2 yard, 3 yards, no more than that. So y'all had him primarily in check.
And they said that they were keying in, even at the end of that game, they were keying in on trying to shut down Derrick Henry. They didn't want Derrick Henry to beat
And
them. They
that's
wanted
how
Lamar to
Zay
beat him.
kept. That's how Zay
And
kept
that's how
undefeated.
Zay Flowers kept on getting behind. That last one that set up that touch, that field goal. I don't care if you were a blind person in a dark field, you would have hit Zay Flowers wide open as he was. And I'm sorry.
I could
One
have
of
got
the other one of the other things that I will honestly sit up there and say, can we stop touting Jalen Ramsey? Please.
maybe.
Even with him,
It's been clear for years.
right. But even with him switching to a safety, when you watch that last play from there, he's looking, because that was his area that he was supposed to drop off to. And he's looking like, who's supposed to be out there? And everybody looking at him like, you
He plays safety because he's slowed down as a corner.
But
He's
he
not
doesn't know how to read off. He doesn't know how to read offensive
playing
schemes.
safety. He has, while his name has clout and he maybe deserves a little benefit of the doubt going into changing positions because of his past experience and his past play. he's not a safety. There are safeties out there in the league that own that position and play that position so well that you can't. You want them.
Jalen Ramsey is definitely no Rod Woodson. He's no Deion Sanders
But
because they ended
No,
up doing that and it just
look,
mm-mm.
your safeties on the Bengals play better than him sometimes.
yes,
Problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially when Cam Taylor-Britt is not on the field.
Yeah, I mean,
can't cover shit. Yeah, can't cover shit.
Guy that plays well. You have a lot of guys that I mean, Jesse Bates is one of those guys, right? I forget how to pronounce his last name. When we had him here, he played a great safety.
And Dukeway.
Yeah, he played a great safety for us the few years that we had him. And
yeah, he's a great safety, bad businessman.
It's when you can move him you can move him over to I need to rotate you because they have on this wide receiver. I need you to play cornerback on this wide receiver. But
yeah,
okay, you can do that as a safety. You can't do that cornerback to safety. It's just a whole different set of skills that while they mimic each other, it's a whole different ball game from the safety position than the cornerback position.
But it was he's had too many lapses to where he's not. You sit there and I get the hype from Jalen Ramsey when he first came in the league with Jacksonville all the way through there. I get that. But at the end of the day,
his ego outweighed his talent.
Weighs his hype. And it's not, and it almost cost Pittsburgh that game.
Yes.
And I would not have been surprised if you would have seen one of them AI memes pop up today with Aaron Rodgers walking up and knocking him clean out for causing them to lose that after that game.
Missed the playoff because of Jalen.
Yeah, because him and Tomlin, and I get this is why, and I mentioned this to one of my coworkers. I don't know if Baltimore makes a coaching change because let's call a spade what it is right now. Either Harbaugh's going to end up having to leave or Lamar Jackson just played his last snap.
Bingo.
With Baltimore.
Pick one. You have
Lamar.
to get because they do not.
But here's the thing. I would have said Lamar if they would have made the playoffs. Even with Lamar there, John, that team has not been that team has not been consistent all season long.
No. Right. But here's the other thing of it. Remember when he was missing games and then all of a sudden because his agent / mom hit them up and said, "Hey, by the way, y'all need to fix my contract."
Oh yeah.
And then all of a sudden his little stuff, which the funniest thing about that stuff dropping was that the way he painted the picture when he made everybody clear all that stuff out of the arena to play stuff. He made it seem like it was everybody else around him. And then as soon as the contract stuff came up, they went, "Oh yeah, hey Baltimore fans and fans of him alike, the other players weren't the only ones slacking off."
Yeah,
and
you saw that on the post game. Yep. Did you see the interview on the post game?
I did not.
Okay, so again, you know my biggest thing. You as an NFL quarterback, you are the CEO of the team. Your coach is the operating manager, but you are the figurehead. You are the CEO.
Yeah, well, you're the front facing.
You're the front facing. He still had on his mask over his face, and he had it pulled down from there. And they was asking him like, "Well, how you feel about everything?" He was like, "You asking me about next season? I'm still in shock of what happened out there on the field tonight." And I can't answer you about what's gonna happen in the next 5 minutes. I'm still stuck on what happened there. I'm like,
There's leaders and then there's
And
people that
was it partially his fault? And here's why I'm gonna
He's been
ask this.
enabled for so long.
If
yeah,
well, yeah, there's that, and that falls on Harbaugh and the rest of the front office. But I digress. But the reason why in this situation, even though he played the second half great on the field, no interceptions, no fumbles, could him yelling at the kicker when he accidentally kicked it out of bounds, and I didn't know about that until today, because obviously I was sitting actually no, was I at home by then? Yeah, I was at home by then. I'm not sure why I didn't see it. Anyway, but after the kicker um kicked it out of bounds, apparently Lamar went over and screamed at him. And then he realized what he did, so he backtracked and tried to say, "Hey, look, um, just try to do better next time." Too late.
yep,
He was already in his own head because he knew he messed up, and then you go over and scream at him.
right,
You might as much as his followers kind of like the way the people follow the God as you call him, the God as
Yeah.
you call him. You may not want to admit it. There are some people that are fragile, and you got to be careful how you deal with them. If he is already in his own head, the last thing he needs anybody doing, especially a leader of the team, a supposed leader of the team, is coming over, finding him, and yelling at him.
correct.
Um,
Let's put
so,
that on for a minute. Let's
so,
put our GM hats on. If you are the GM of the Ravens,
okay.
do you believe that A, John Harbaugh is the answer? You're going to keep him and lose Lamar. B, Lamar's the answer and you lose John Harbaugh. Or C, you lose both and you start fresh.
You know what? At this point,
It's hard to find a coach. I'm sorry. I can't. I would love to lean toward Harbaugh, but 18 seasons, 18
that
seasons on
I want to hear your
18 seasons. He's only had three losing seasons. Yes, I understand that while I do understand that he's been there this whole time, and I understand that they should be a lot farther than they are. Here's the problem. How often, how often does it turn around? I don't care if you were a winning team and you let go of a coach that just won you a Super Bowl, or you do like the usual losing teams do, like the Raiders, and ever since you um freed yourself of some bad publicity by getting rid of John Gruden, who at that time wasn't exactly doing too hot anyway. I actually didn't think he was going to last too much longer anyway, and I have a feeling that that's the reason why it came out the way it did. But that's another story for another time, and I digress. Let's stick with Harbaugh. Who you gonna bring in? And in this situation, he better be Tubby Smith. And you know what I mean by that. You got rid of Boutino, you brought in Tubby Smith. Tubby Smith won at least one championship. So that next coach coming in, he's basically the Kalen DeBoer to Nick Saban. You have to win a championship, not next year, not the year after. You have to keep everything going. You at least have to keep us in that center of the bubble. And here's the other problem. You don't have the leaders with the mentality that you used to.
and
That's
that's
why I
why
said, that's why I said when it came to light that Ray Lewis was retiring, like, bro, can you at least come on, be a defensive coordinator? Because we know that you gonna set that standard and you ain't gonna accept nothing less. And you know how to do it because you did it both as a player. You did it as a player. If you was on defense, oh hey, grab your playbook, come to my house. We need to talk. He did that with everybody. That's why that defense was so centered. You had him. He was the floor. He was the floor general. Who was it? Brian Billick was the coach. He was the floor general on defense. He had
Right.
he had his lieutenant, and he had his unhinged hitman and Terrell Suggs. He had his lieutenant in Ed Reed. You wasn't coming in there half stepping. You wasn't coming in there half stepping and thinking you gonna do whatever you want to do on that side of the ball. And yeah, he might even have a few words for the offensive side when y'all wasn't exactly doing y'all best. So it all worked out.
So
Everybody's got to be brought in. And the reason why I say I'm willing to let go of Lamar, you got all this talent.
no, you don't. That's the
I
problem.
was being sarcastic. I was
Right,
being
but this,
sarcastic. And every time we turn around, you and your loving mother, that is your agent, every time we turn around, she clamored for more money. And I just found out something today that is another reason why I said it's okay for Lamar to go. Apparently next year he's going to be 7 million against the cap, and you was having rumblings about you want more money. So if he's already going to be 74 against the cap, if they give in and give him that money, how much more money is he going to be against the cap that's not going to allow them to fix
the
what they need
spread.
to fix where they need
I think
where they
I
need. He ain't spreading nothing. That's why they
With
ain't been
with
willing to
extension
give him his
with
money.
with extension, they will spread it. They can't
yeah,
put themselves over the cap by adding on to it. They would have to spread it out. They
they
won't the league won't allow it.
Yeah, but it at least but he's already 74. So if
Right.
he
But
already
that's the same thing
74,
that you were talking about before with the deferring of the money down. They would have to spread it. They cannot give him an extension that's going to cost them once they're already over the cap,
right,
unless they want to pay that luxury tax on top of it. They
which
can't do it.
and that's why
And he can't.
and that's why to me he's more expendable because you got a better chance of finding another quarterback to lead the team than you do in bringing in the right head coach that's going to keep you that's going to keep you in the playoffs, that's going to keep you uh the last thing they did was they got to the AFC Championship. That's all the pressure, and technically, you're supposed to have a team. They need to quit saying everybody. I was not one of the people that believed that the Baltimore Ravens, because again, like we talked about, I go by what's your history, how y'all roll. No matter how good y'all are, y'all figure out a way to not get there. And yes, there were some drop passes. I'm sorry, I'm not blaming Andrews for having to make a split second call while slipping on ice. I'm sorry. Had it been on regular turf, okay, smack him upside the head and let him have it. But no, it was on ice. And you got to put yourself in that situation. You're starting to slip. The ball is coming to you. You done lost your balance. You practically on your butt. It's hard to position your body to oh, I'm definitely gonna catch this ball while hoping that however you slip, you don't hurt yourself leading in the next season. There's a lot to be going on in a person's head while they're trying to catch a ball. While people are sitting up here just acting like he was standing upright and the ball came right to him and he just dropped it. Now, had that been the case, okay, let him have it. The man was slipping on ice. He had too many things going in his head besides catching that ball. And okay, he dropped it. And what else did you do? What about your interception and your turnover and the fact that they was able to put pressure on you to make you make bad decisions when you were able to make passes? That stuff happened in the game too. But I get it. Don't let details get in the way of a good time of you deflecting. Which is another reason, like you said, Jay, that's another reason why Lamar can't get over the hump.
Drew, you want to go next or you want me to go?
sure, I can take it. I'm a fan of blowing the whole thing up, get rid of both of them, and it's not because and Lamar's performance Lamar is all about performance and the toxicity that he and his camp bring to the Baltimore Ravens. You can't act the way he acts and play the way he plays. You get one or the other. You can either play bad and be really humble and really nice, or you can be non-humble and a jerk and play amazing. You can't play bad and be a jerk. You can't do both. I think with John Harbaugh, it's not that he's a bad coach. I like John Harbaugh a lot. I would love to have John Harbaugh as the Bengals head coach. He is a great head coach, but I think his time in Baltimore is up. He needs a change of scenery. It's not that he's a bad coach. He doesn't need to be run out of the league. I would put him in the ring of honor in Baltimore. He is a great coach. He was great for that team, great for that organization. And he is the type of head coach 15 years ago everybody wanted. And now that you're looking, you have your template. Hey, I'm going to find a guy that kind of followed that similar path, that had the success in the places that he had success in the same type of way. And then you go, okay, what do we need to make just a little bit different? So that way, when he gets a hold of his Joe Flacco, he is not just making and winning one Super Bowl. He is making and winning 2, 3, 4 Super Bowls. And then you turn into what the Baltimore Ravens have always wanted to be, which is the Pittsburgh Steelers, where you have one coach for 30 years and you turn it over to another guy, and that guy's the coach for 30 years and has good success. And then you turn it over to the next guy who has crazy success. And that's what the Ravens have the opportunity to do. But they have to do their diligence. Now, this is going to be a 2-step process. You have to get rid of Lamar this year, and he's going to look real good in Arizona red, because that's who's going to take them, because they need something out there to change and prove that, they still have a football team. And then in 2 years, you're going to see John Harbaugh. They're going to come to John Harbaugh, and they're going to say, hey, man, it's time to go. Do you want to retire? Do you want to step away? How do you want to handle this? We're going to do it the way that you do it. It's going to be a transition, but you're going to lose them both over the next 2 years. Lamar has to be gone after this year, and then in 2 years, you're going to replace Harbaugh, but you're going to start your search now, and you're going to find that college coach that is the mold that you want, because there's no offensive coordinators or defense, because you can't bring in a defensive coordinator to Baltimore. And the reason is because you don't have you can't play the same style of defense that made Baltimore famous anymore. You have to be an offensive head coach, because that, regardless of what division you're in, and I understand the AFC North is a bit meaner of a division, but you can't. The days of Ray Lewis and Ed Reed being so dominant and so mean and so hard hitting and scaring the crap out of people over the middle is over, because of the rule changes. So you have to find an offensive head coach, build around your quarterback, get him the tools and the weapons that he uses well, and then build it out from there. All you need is a bend, don't break defense, and allow your quarterback to go out and win you the games that he can win you. You don't have to go undefeated. You don't even have to win your division. You just have to play well enough to get into the wild card, and then you can be dangerous. It's just like the NCAA tournament. You get in and you can be dangerous. Look at Michigan State. They are a tournament team, right? They play 500, 600 basketball throughout the regular season. They maybe win the Big Ten tourney because they're a good tournament team. And NCAA tournament rolls around, their team you don't want to see. And that's the Baltimore Raven success story. Be the team nobody wants to see in the playoffs. Make them play you, regardless if they're on the road or they're at home. Make the Ravens in the game the team. It doesn't matter if you go to San Diego and play the Chargers in the first round. They still have to play you. And that's the recipe for Baltimore to win. They don't need the gimmicks. They just need to get back to playing offensive Baltimore Raven football, because the defense of Baltimore Raven football is not allowed to be played anymore.
All right. So, Channing Crowder today, it was either today or it was yesterday on the Pivot during their Monday recap, sat there and said the AFC North is not what it used to be. Teams used to circle that saying, nah, I don't want to mess with them no more. Pretty much calling them soft. Everybody knows they're calling them soft. Yeah. No team has won the AFC North except for Baltimore and actually been successful in the playoffs after they got into their format, besides us in that magical run those 2 years.
Yeah.
When I say it's C, both of them need to go. And the reason why I'm saying both of them need to go is that, one, Lamar's antics that he's done is to a point now to where your antics don't outweigh your age and the tread on the tires for you being a quarterback. You showed this year you showed glimpses yesterday. That's the first glimpses that you've seen all freaking year of you seeing a hole or a chance to run that you actually took your ass through and ran. Because your season was on the line. Your image was on the line. So you sat there and you did what you had to do in order to make that. That's why when they said everything like you can't blame Lamar for this game. No, you can't blame him for this game, but you can blame him for the rest of the season. Now, the other part of this was, remind me, guys, didn't we all at the beginning of the season had them going pretty much 14-3 or 15-2 based off of what their season was?
Pretty sure I had them 14-3. I'm pretty sure.
Right. We had them ahead of the Bengals, or where they match up with the Bengals. We all said that they would split them, but that was going to be the dictating of who was going to go to the playoffs between them two teams.
Yeah.
We did that based off of what Baltimore had showed us and what it looked like they would have been capable of at the beginning of the season going into it. When you don't reach your potential to where we had you as pundits, and we weren't the only pundits that had you at 15 wins, 14 wins, and you don't even make the playoffs, it goes to the head of the snake. That defense never has shown anything of a tenor of what it should have been or what it was potential to be throughout the season. It could have been injuries. It was injuries in the part of it and everything else. But even without the injuries, they never looked like a Baltimore Ravens defense, even if it has to be subdued a little bit.
Right.
So at some point, I've said it before, the messaging gets old. The players and the style of play has transitioned out of what it was that made Harbaugh successful from there. Let's call a spade a spade. Harbaugh has not seen a Super Bowl since Flacco left.
Yep.
So how long?
Amazing playoff run too.
Right. How long do you hold on to the nostalgia and the hope without saying, you know what? It's been a good ride. Factory reset.
Yep. I'm right there with you.
He is the second longest tenured head coach in the NFL. He's been their head coach since 2008. The only person that's beaten him, Tomlin.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's it. But both of them, if you put blinders on and gave the descriptions of what these teams was, which is eerily similar, and sat there and said, who was it that was out there for it? You wouldn't have never thought them two teams. No. Based off of their track record and their history with what they're doing.
Right.
It's time. At some point, the nostalgia has to go. The three longest tenured coaches in the NFL, Tomlin, Harbaugh, Reed. Two of them were perennial playoff teams, and they tanked this year. With KC, and you could actually put Tomlin was on the fence. Because to me, in all honesty, they get blown out that first round. Tomlin's out too.
I don't think they're going to fire Andy Reid. I think Andy Reid have an
I don't think Reid is going to leave. but they better show some results next year, or show some semblance of a fight. And you're going to have to do it
they're going to have to
without
fix that line.
Right. But that comes down to you have to learn. You have to know what you got to do to fix. You've sat there and needle pricked it for so long to try to just make it patchwork, and felt like Patrick was going to win it for you, or felt like Lamar was going to win it for you. And in Pittsburgh, it was whoever we want to throw out there for quarterback that was going to win it to. Our defense was going to do it.
Yep.
Everything that you held your hats on to failed you this season.
Yes.
Yeah, they got too old, too injured, and I want to know how long Watt was playing with that lung issue.
But he's always said, JJ said that they did dry needling. It was just a mishap.
No, I get that, but like I said, I want to know how long,
because it was instant. It was instantaneous, because he couldn't have played when your lung collapses, like they said his did, to where they had to put him on a respirator if the reinflate it.
Yeah.
You can't. It feels like an elephant sitting on your chest. You can't play through that, even no matter how fit you are.
Okay.
No matter how much they think you're Superman, you're not playing.
Right. You're not going to be able to play through that. But when it comes down to Baltimore, seriously, when it comes down to it, I understand that the play style is different, but the mentality that you need to have, for the focus that you need to have, is still there. And the one person that popped immediately in my head that would be the one is 1A, and then bring in the other person as your defensive coordinator if you don't keep the DC that's already there. Ed Reed.
Okay.
Let him be your quarter. Let him be your head coach. He was about to become a head coach in college before they started doing a whole bunch of BS right during that same time frame that Dion was out there, and he had more traction with going back there and he's helped out at Miami. He's been an assistant coach. If you wanted somebody to bring back that Baltimore mystique and that discipline, Ed Reed as your head coach, bring Ray in as a defensive consultant.
Yeah, because he's probably not going to want to come in no more than that.
Right.
So yeah,
and
I can see that.
You bring that mentality back. Then you can hire whatever offensive coordinator and say you have carte blanche running of the offense. Yeah. I'm not going to be on the sideline sitting up there trying to call offensive plays. I don't know it.
But have a lot of and a lot of high profile wins and an entire system that he can run, because we saw it when you put in a head coach that doesn't have a ton of experience, that's a former player, Jeff Saturday. No idea what they're doing out there. And I'm not saying that Ed Reed's not going to be a better head coach than Jeff Saturday. What I am saying is that it's a different level.
Yeah, of course. And I agree with that.
To me, they didn't really give him. Irsay was expecting like instant. He had no time with it. It was like you fire the coach, you bring him in, and you were expecting instant gratification. And when you didn't get it, you let him go. So we, unfortunately, to be fair, in my opinion, we don't know what Jeff Saturday would have been, because he didn't get. He did heck. He didn't get what at least most inexperienced, dare I say it to bring it up, black coaches. Most black coaches will at least get a full year. Like at least give them a full year, give them some time to deal with the draft process and forming the team, and then they just kind of brought him in. I don't even think he was there for that many games.
No, he was a temporary coach.
He was like as the interim coach off the desk.
Yeah, he was at ESPN. They was like, "Hey, you want to coach?" Hey, sure.
Right, and it's like, no, you need to get a man a year. Let him be a part of the draft process.
It wasn't a part. I don't think it was a part of the game plan in order to do it. I just think that when it came to Saturday, it was just like, hey, he knows the system. Jeff Saturday.
Let's see if he can bring a spark.
No, Jeff Saturday is the exact same thing they did this year with Phillip Rivers. But it's in a different landscape because Jeff Saturday, when they brought him in, he knew the schemes that they was running on there. He just didn't know how to coach and had no coaching experience. The reason why they brought in Phillip Rivers that put Cam Newton's panties in a bunch was because he ran that exact same offense with his team that he coaches in high school.
Right.
So he knew the playbook, he knew the plays and everything for it. It was hit the ground running. It's just that he wasn't in play. He was in somewhat playing shape, but he's still 45 years old, sitting up there trying to play against 20-year-old men.
Granddad throwing passes.
Granddad throwing passes in the backyard. That's what it was.
And you out of shape.
But he still was giving them a fighting chance.
Right. And that was the part that killed the game. Like, dude, if you actually had like a full season and you were in shape, what could this look like?
And that's why when Cam had his little hissy fit about it, I laughed because I sat there and said, this man came off of being a head coach and had been sitting up there doing what he was doing for his team, came off the scrap heap and gave a team a fighting chance to win. He was doing that still before he retired. You, the last time we saw you, couldn't even make it past being a backup.
Yeah.
So how are you complaining?
He went to the wrong places for one, because as soon as he went to New England, I was like, no.
But even with the wrong places, the same way that Josh Jackson was out there playing yesterday for the Washington Commanders on his 18th team, Cam Newton can't sit there and say, "Oh well, I they don't give me a chance." No, they don't want you to come in there because of one, your attitude and your divaism, and then two, your last few years of you playing, you freaking sucked.
Yeah.
It don't matter where you was. You suck. You went back to Carolina with almost the exact same team that you left a couple years before, and you were worse than you was when you got hurt and you left.
Happens.
So no, I don't. That's why you can't sit when it comes to Phillip Rivers and what he did, and even with they won when Saturday was there. Why? Saturday do the playbook.
Now, I can see Phillip Rivers being brought in as a head coach somewhere, or as an offensive coordinator.
Yeah, Phillip Rivers will be a underlining candidate for it because
if you bring in Ed Reed as your head coach in Baltimore and you go give Phillip Rivers your offensive coordinator position, and he's able to come in and build his offense the way he wants with the quarterback, wide receivers,
and you have a top 15 pick.
Plus you still have a top 10 running back and 2 tight ends that are worth a damn.
And you can trade Lamar to one of the top 10 teams that don't want to draft a quarterback. You got the Raiders. You got the Raiders. You got Arizona up there.
Arizona, Las Vegas, and New Orleans, man.
And even Miami.
Actually, I think he would probably have a better chance with the other three because Tyler Shuck is kind of showing Kellen Moore that
Tyler Shuck will be the starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints next season.
Yeah, if they could fix that offensive line,
he will be the starting quarterback.
Tyler Shuck will be the quarterback of the New Orleans Saints until Arch Manning is eligible to be drafted and he's able to take over.
I don't think realistically, with how that NFC South ended up, I would not be surprised if you saw New Orleans either be a wild card or take that NFC South next season.
Right.
Because I don't trust Tampa Bay. I don't trust Tampa Bay. They eat that one out yesterday. I don't trust Carolina.
God, no.
I feel like Carolina might get boat raced. Carolina might become Texas Tech in this game next week. Probably. I mean, this game this week. And then what's it called? Who else am I? In Atlanta, Atlanta just fired everybody. When I mean fire everybody, they said, "Hey, you know what? Nice try. Go pack your shit."
Yeah, get out.
Go pack your shit.
Yeah.
And they went up the chain.
Some opportunities with London and Michael Penix to really be good next year with the right
And you want to know what's the crazy thing that they announced later on today that flew under the radar? They moved up their GM to president, and then they brought in Matt Ryan as president of football operations. So he's going to have a say on who they pick as the new head coach.
He's going to be the de facto GM. He's going to take over everything, and he's going to be the one making decisions. And I think that's a really great way to do things because of their ability to see from the field up and not from a business standpoint. You see from the field up as a player and you go, this is what I really wanted or what I really liked as a player, then I'm going to give that to my players now and to my coaches now. And we're going to work beautifully together. And if it works, great, awesome. But we're all tied together. And that's the other problem. When you're going from field up like Matt Ryan's going to do, he's going to be connected to all this. And if and when it does fail, because eventually, even if it does succeed, it eventually will fail. Just like Kansas City, it will eventually fail.
Everything is always in the NFL. As much as it changes, it always ends up failing in the long term. It doesn't. It's a rarity to find when you get to the Tomlins, the Harbaughs, the Reeds. You get to those points to where their messaging lasts for so long because people respect and the results show for it.
Right.
Oh, snap.
What?
The man he just got fired this morning. He already got a potential job.
Who? Stefanski?
Morris.
Where? Oh. Defensive coordinator where?
No. Let me see if I can actually bring it up. I could have swore
I'm on ESPN at the same time. I've been trying to see and track on there because I said it was
head coach.
For where? It better not be Arizona.
Titans.
Titans. That's a good fit for him.
You think so?
I think Raheem Morris in Tennessee is gonna. I think their willingness to stick with it and to not try and change the way he wants to do things is because they desperately want to get back to where they were.
And I get that. I just think but Tennessee when Tennessee hired Callahan, they hired Callahan on the strength of I'll call it. They hired Callahan on the strength of Burrow.
Yes.
And what Burrow did. And they noticed that Callahan's wasn't a good fit at all. So you're hiring Raheem Morris to do what? To be more of a defensive-minded quarterback with a defensive already-minded team in an offense that can barely sputter? I don't know.
Well, because I think they're going to look for getting rid of stuff.
But see, the problem is that that was your issue in the first place. If you think about it, they had the one quarterback before Ward, and he was with. Did they draft him while what's it called was there? While the head coach of New England was there with Minnesota? I mean with Tennessee?
Vrabel? Yeah. Vrabel
was there when they hired when they drafted the one quarterback that say he eat mayonnaise on peanut butter sandwiches or whatever it was.
Yes.
Yeah. So okay. So you had
what?
Yeah, dude was weird. Will Levis.
Oh man, I met that dude at the combine a couple years ago. Oh yeah. Man,
he's a weird dude.
But that was Vrabel. But Vrabel had him. That was supposed to be Vrabel's heir apparent. Vrabel got fired. He started playing. They realized he was trash. They got to that number one pick with Callahan. Callahan got to pick Ward. They bring Ward in. Ward is some semblance of it. But before Ward could even get hot, Callahan got fired. So now you got to bring in another quarterback. Because they were expecting
immediate results.
But you can't expect immediate results from a rookie that did not play against anybody.
Right.
Miami wasn't that good last year.
Well, that's what I'm saying is I think that bringing in, if they are bringing in Raheem Morris as their head coach, I think they are going to find that powerhouse offensive coordinator that's going to fix the issues on the offensive side of the ball, because the way that, and I think he's going to be more apt, more apt to go, oh, okay, yeah, no, I want, you're going to bring in who, oh, you're going to bring in a great offensive coordinator for me. Excellent. I'm going to take care of the defensive side of the ball. Let me handle that portion. And I think that's going to be a recipe for him to
Yep.
succeed, because he's going to inherit a place where he is able to have more freedom. I don't think Atlanta gave him anything to work with and then didn't give him the option to make changes.
I believe that last part.
Now, see, but here's my response to this. Here's my response to that. Would you, with both of these jobs open, and let's just say we take Raheem Morris out here. If you look at what Atlanta has in hand right now and what Tennessee has in hand right now, would you really go to Tennessee?
No, I would pick Atlanta myself, because I believe that Michael Penix and Drake London make a better pair than anything I'm going to be able to roll.
I don't know.
Drake London started to try to come in his own toward the end of the season. Then he got hurt. What's it called? Kevin, the main one that you have to
Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts for me is if I keep him, great. If I get rid of him, great. I don't really care. He plays a position not particularly well that seems to be in abundance in college right now. So I can go out and I can find a really good pass catching tight end that also does other things for me really well. Run blocking in particular, play action pass blocking, slipping out, things like that Kyle Pitts seems to struggle with. Now in college, Kyle Pitts was amazing, but he seems to be struggling in the NFL with the speed, and it's just maybe just not his thing. It happens. I'm of the opinion, if I keep him, great. If I don't, oh well. And maybe I do have to get rid of him because he's just not the fit for the system I want. If I'm picking a head coaching spot to land, it is definitely Atlanta. I would not pick Tennessee. I would not pick Cleveland, and I would definitely not pick Oakland. So, comes the best of the best.
You want some Jets action? That's what you want. You want some Jets action.
Yeah. Oh my God! Nobody wants those Jets action.
Here's the thing with the Jets.
Ain't nobody gonna be
perfect, great to go. But because the Jets are in New York and you can't get away from the media,
you can't do anything with the Jets.
You can't do anything. You either go in and you win 25 games in a row and you win the Super Bowl and you're on the route to win the next one too, right, or you're fired. And the New York media, it ruins
everybody. That's why Glenn is perfect for it. Because Glenn is gonna be like, I don't care.
But they don't know the Giants coaches. Daboll's been was there for what, 6 years, being crappy. They just kind of let him go. But God forbid, it was Robert Saleh, right? That was up there.
Yeah.
They let him go, thinking that he was the problem because Aaron didn't have a problem with Saleh. Aaron didn't have a problem with Saleh. Had nothing to do with him being fired. Yeah, okay, right, whatever. Anyway, and
Robert Saleh knows what he's doing. He's out at the 49ers, right? He went to the 49ers. He's their DC out in San Francisco right now.
And he's been making chicken salad chicken with injuries this entire time.
Yeah.
Now
the last 2 weeks haven't been amazing, but the whole year they've been playing great under his leadership. And I think while he might not be material, he is a great defensive coordinator and definitely deserves interviews. And honestly, he might even be a little bit better of a fit in Tennessee.
He don't want it right now.
Oh God, no, I wouldn't either.
No. He's like literally, it was last week. Somebody had asked him if he would want to be a head coach again. He said, "I do eventually, but not right now.
Yeah.
I'm cool where I'm at. And he is the only reason, that with all the injuries on defense, this any semblance of consistent defense that you see the 49ers play,
Yeah.
they better not let him go. Like, dude, what do you want? We'll buy you another house. We'll get you a side mistress. What do you want?
Paid. I think he's at the top end of the defensive coordinators getting paid wise.
Yeah.
I mean,
So he would be cool. And
uh,
I
yeah,
just I just you just reminded me of something when you started talking about coordinators. Um yeah. So you remember when Russ was like doing horrible things with the Broncos? And you
Yeah.
remember when
Russ who?
Aaron Wilson, you remember when Aaron was doing horrible things with the Jets?
Yes.
There was a spot on the with the Chiefs that I was not aware of. Apparently, you remember Matt Nagy, the
Right.
one that was running the offense when Russell had his worst year before Peyton came in and tried to right the ship, but he didn't like Russ. So when they started getting on a winning streak, and then they turned around and beat the Chiefs, he turned around and they got together and they decided to come to him and say, "Hey, can you take a pay cut on that one part of your contract?" And they knew he was going to say no, so then that made them bench him and get him out. Well, I just found out that Matt Nagy has been in KC.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was the other problem with KC.
Yeah.
The
You ain't know
pro
Nagy was there?
No.
Terrible. He is a cancer.
Dude, he was there last year when
Sorry.
they cluster
I,
fucked the Super Bowl.
I don't. Matt Nagy for me, for my money, Nagy wherever he goes, you're gonna want to bet whoever the
The
other.
other team.
And that's why it was funny when Rodgers with the Pittsburgh. And I'm sorry, speaking of people that need to be fired, I don't care what they do in the playoffs, whether they keep Tomlin or not, whether they keep Aaron or not. Our that they coordinator needs to go.
He's not going, and that's why I said it's
He
not.
needs to go. It just you don't know how to scheme. You're supposed to be this dynamic running a coordinator guru, but yet you can't. I'm not going to totally trash their offensive line, but the one thing I do know, you keep calling run plays running up the middle, no matter how much it doesn't work. Every time you call it's like you calling the run play just so you can go back to the pass plays. You're like legitimately like, oh, I tried it again. Oh, it didn't work. Let's go back to the pass. There you go, Aaron. No,
But that's
because
not coordinator.
Gainwell can run. With anybody that saw him with Philly last year, when he was subbing in to give Saquon a break, you know Gainwell got some wheels. And at least when they do make a hole for him that he's quick enough to get through, Warren is decent. So he's Warren has proven that he is decent. So you mean to tell me that you're such a guru that you can't scheme up nothing so that you can make it where everything's not all on the quarterback, no matter who that quarterback is, whether it's Will Howard, Aaron Rodgers, whether it's Mitch Trubisky, whoever it is.
That's an Aaron Rodgers problem and not the coordinator's issue. That's why the coordinator is safe.
No, because
Aaron,
he was doing the same stuff last year. I would love to blame Aaron on this one, and I know that Aaron. I'm sure that Aaron is doing Aaron things, but at the same time, uh, 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 I doubt he's the one calling the run plays where they run up the middle every time. They don't run like they don't run off tackle. They either run up the middle and it gets nowhere, or they're playing like a top defense, so they try a lateral and try to go wide, knowing damn well it ain't gonna work. It's just no.
but
It does work.
you've had problem players in Pittsburgh for the last 8 years, whether
You
it's quarterback,
and I get
wide
that,
receiver,
but in this particular case, I would love to have seen what either one of the quarterbacks would have been like last year, had the guy, especially when you sit up there and you have a favoritism issue. You wanted Fields, but Tomlin, but your head coach wanted Russell. And there was
Yeah.
a reason why he wanted Russell. And Russell, for the most part, at least until the injury started hitting the offensive line and they became like a sieve on steroids.
Russell Wilson's a better quarterback than Justin Fields. I'm gonna agree with you there. The issue that you run into, especially in a place like Pittsburgh, where the players seem to have an inordinate amount of power. And in last year, you had a problem child wide receiver in Pickens, who
And he's becoming,
made
and he became a problem child again.
who made your life miserable when he didn't get the ball, and then
Right.
your life even more miserable because when you did throw the ball, he dropped the damn thing. So when you have those issues, your coordinator is stuck because all he's going to do is hear about it and hear about it and hear about it. And that is why the coordinator's job in Pittsburgh is safe.
But he sucks.
Because
I'm sorry, to me, he sucks.
he has Aaron Rodgers, because Aaron Rodgers, you know for a fact Aaron Rodgers will change any play he doesn't want.
Or we know that he literally
He
changes stuff
will.
at the line. As soon as he looks at the defense and he sees what it is, yes, he will definitely change it at the line.
Let's say
I won't hold you on that one.
that too. I think Aaron Rodgers is more egotistical than just going, oh, I'm going to look at this defense and go, oh, it's they're not in a quarter, they're in a dime, and let me change it over. He looks and goes, oh, I'm 200 yards away passing from a bonus. And yeah, we may be up 10 in the fourth quarter. We're going to still throw the ball.
Old Aaron.
Aaron Rodgers
Yes.
still around is because he is
the Aaron that took a pay cut on steroids. I don't know. And even though he's had egotistical moments this year,
Tom Brady and chasing Peyton Manning, he is tired of being listed in the tier right below them. He wants
to do something.
Those numbers, and that's why such a pain in the rear end
Jay,
to get there.
Do something.
Jay, tell me if you've noticed this.
It shows the Jets.
Right. Then do something. You followed the Brett Favre school of leaving Green Bay and thought you were going to have the same amount of success.
Right. And had it not been for that wedding, he would have completed it by going to Minnesota. But I digress. But Jay, tell me this. While there still has been moments where you've seen his ego, you have to also admit at the same time that there's been times, especially toward the end of the season, especially what he said after the game last night. I was not expecting him to give the level of flowers that he was giving, and he's been doing that the past couple of weeks. And even when he came in the door, it was like, look, things need to be done different.
I think
things need to be done different. He understands that he needed to change his narrative. So while he can't help who he is, so there's still going to be a level of egotisticalness. This Aaron compared to the Aaron that was in Green Bay, let alone with the Jets, he's not that dude.
I'll agree. He has mellowed out on his egotistical end of who he is to the media.
And he's definitely tried to be different with the players, because even over the past couple of weeks, they've been talking about, ever since he called them out for not he might have meant not paying attention. Like, yeah, you were there, but you might as well not have been there because you weren't really paying attention.
Yeah,
And now he inviting people to his house and they hanging out watching film and he hanging out with them and he doing stuff. So while it's clear by some of the reactions that he has, the looks on his face when stuff don't go right. Clearly, at the end of the day, Aaron is Aaron. But at the same time, he hasn't evolved a bit. And
No,
if
Aaron's always going to be Aaron. Aaron's
yeah,
going to always be that cocky quarterback from California that does marches to his own beat of his drum. But the
yeah,
fact of the matter is that I think that you saw the one reason why when he was going through this, I kind of felt like Pittsburgh would have been the best fit for him. And that was you're not going to be bigger than the Steelers.
and Tomlin ain't
And that
going for it.
mistake,
He
and
did the
Tomlin
same
ain't
thing with
going for
Russell
it.
Wilson. He told Russell Wilson, like, yeah, you won't have your own separate room. You'll be in the
Right.
locker room with everybody else, period. So when I found out he was officially going to the Steelers, I'm like, yeah, ain't nobody, ain't, unless they see as it being an okay fit and a reason to do it, they ain't bringing in nobody that.
the Steelers learned their lesson with Russell Wilson when it
What do you
comes to
mean?
big name free agents and on their back end. Russell Wilson,
Well, I
but
mean,
the way they handled it, the way they handled it, they learned their lesson. They can't treat them the same way, and Russell Wilson unfortunately caught the inexperience of handling a successful older quarterback on the back end of his career. They learned from him. And I'm not saying that he did it. I'm not saying that Russell Wilson was the problem.
okay.
How they handled him was the problem. Does
What
that
do you
make
mean?
so like how they used him, how they said, "Oh, okay, well, we're going to put you in a competition with an inferior quarterback and then move over to that inferior quarterback."
Well,
And
had his calf
not
issue not happened, Fields wouldn't have never started because Tomlin never wanted him to start. He wanted Russell to start.
organization did.
Well, I know what I
That
know at the end of the year in terms of who they wanted to keep for whatever reason. I know the Rooneys wanted to keep Fields while Tomlin wanted to keep Russell. And then they ended up getting rid of both of them. Well, Fields ended up feeling some kind of way, so he decided he didn't want to be there, which
yeah,
kind of added to him going over to the Jets. But then when he went over to the Jets, we found out why he wasn't in that 6 win window, that four out of six game win window. We found out why he wasn't throwing that much.
right.
That was the one thing I would give the coordinator. He made sure that we didn't find out what it was. Whereas the Jets brought him over and then they showing him in training camp, short arm and passes, and they like, what in God's name did we just do? Not
If
only did we bring him over, we paid this dude money. Um, are we sure Russ is not available? He's with the Giants. Okay.
well, yeah, but then when you see how the entire staff and everything was when Aaron Rodgers came in, they seemed much more in this lockstep, much more
Yeah.
top to
Yeah,
bottom. They are with
Aaron was happier with it too. Even his whole demeanor, he's like, I really want to be with Tomlin, and it didn't have a hint
you
of
know
cocky sarcasm
what an
that he
awful
usually has. When it was like you literally felt that this was who he wanted. He wanted an experienced coach. He wanted an experienced coach that had a long tenure. If the Steelers had fired him before this, he doesn't end up in Pittsburgh. That's my honest opinion. I honestly believe that he picked him specifically because of the because he's even mentioned it here recently. The reputation of the team, the reputation of Tomlin, and how he handles things. And they were even talking while he was off, getting married, probably on his honeymoon, and they stayed in touch. He came in, stopped in real quick, had DK like, hey DK, your boy coming into town. He just got married. Probably need to go to his honeymoon, but he want to hang out with you a bit before he go on his honeymoon. Because it didn't make no sense that he stopped in real quick. Like, wait, you can't show up for OTAs, but you could stop up real quick, hang out with Tomlin and DK, throw the ball around, and then you off again. make that make sense. But then once it came out, why that made sense. Why Minnesota said, no, we good. We'll just have to make do with and see what we got in McCarthy. That makes sense why San Francisco said, we'll see what we got in Brock Purdy. You go ahead, you enjoy being get married. Congratulations. Enjoy your honeymoon. Good luck wherever you end up. It all made sense, but Pittsburgh put themselves in a bind because they could have tried to go for somebody else instead of zero in on the experience.
Right, but they from top to bottom all chose Aaron Rodgers and said we are all in on Aaron Rodgers. Tomlin did, the Rooneys did, all the coaches. Everybody was one camp, one focus.
Because
That's
they saw how it imploded.
how it
It's like Tomlin wanted Russell,
worked
the
with.
Rooney's wanted Fields, and then Fields felt some kind of way like, no, fuck y'all.
But
Because his ego kicked in. His ego that Andy Red Rocket when he left Chicago, he got painted a hater when he got to the Panthers because he tried to tell people like, yeah, he don't want to listen to he don't he don't want to listen to nobody. He want to do it. He set he you can't tell him nothing. No matter how much experience you got, you can't tell him nothing. That's not gonna work in the NFL, bruh.
sure, but that yeah, that's why I say that the experience that Russell Wilson had with the Steelers, they learned from it. Unfortunately, Russell Wilson had to live through that, and it basically ended his career.
Yeah,
And
because going to the Giants wasn't going to work because they don't have a line.
not that Russell Wilson didn't have. I'm sorry. He showed he didn't belong in the NFL any longer when playing with the Steelers, and the Giants were just desperate enough.
But the only reason he showed that was because of the injuries that kicked in and they weren't able to protect him. And yes, since he's not the scrambler that he used to be, that's why it looked. So going from there when we know what it is, just like with Sam Darnold this year, uh it's a miracle. He goes to Seattle. They don't have the injury issues toward the end of the season, but they do have some games where the defenses played him tough and he made Sam Darnold type mistakes. But other than that, for the most part, the line stayed good and everything was what it was. He's 14-3. People are wanting to change the narrative. And all you had to do was improve his line and hell, improve it through the whole season. Don't do it through most of the season. Then toward the end of the season, it starts leaking like a sieve on steroids, and you know this guy, he's a pocket guy. You got to give him time. You can't have the defense slapping on him and knocking him down and sacking him and have that in his head for as soon as he goes hike, he's not going to be focused on what he needs to be focused on. And a miracle. He improved from in Minnesota. He improved from what he was with the Jets and the Panthers. Oh, what a miracle. He goes to Seattle. They got a better offensive line than what he had in Minnesota. For the most part, he looked way better than he did anywhere else. I get what you're saying, but the details are important. Um 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 Russell has not played behind a good offensive line since the Super Bowl years. Before the Super Bowl years in Seattle and after the Super Bowl years in Seattle, he spent most of his time as soon as he said Ike, you could count on him running for his life.
Yes,
And I'm sorry, of course, you can't completely blame him because he stopped being able to scramble. You get old,
got older.
your legs, you gonna become a pocket passer eventually,
I'm
and which means that once you become a pocket passer like all the other pocket passers, then you have to have at least average or above type of line. If you don't have that, then you don't want that guy. That's why Dart looked better when you put in because he had the ability to scramble, but his inability to slide is why he stayed in and out of the tent.
The intensive care unit on the
right.
sideline.
Yeah,
thing about Russell Wilson, it's not that he didn't end his career because he lost a step. His career got ended for him because didn't get an option. He went to a place and had a coach that didn't want him in Denver. Okay. And instead of being able to go, okay, I can step back and find the best fit for Russell Wilson now and go somewhere that's going to appreciate me for the player that I have turned into and am continuing to turn into in this pocket passer, less mobile version. He went, oh, I'm going to go play for a coach that I really like. Awesome. Well, the problem is that he went to an organization that didn't want him.
Mm-hmm.
He went to a coach that wanted him and an organization that didn't. And to appease the coach, they signed him. And then they also signed the guy that the organization wanted. And the organization said, well, we don't really care what kind of player you're turning into. This is what you have to work with. We're not going to fix it. We're not going to change it. You change. You make it work. And if you can't, well, then, oh, well, see you later. And that is what ended Russell Wilson's career. If Russell Wilson had a team that he was just able to pick, and from the top down, they said, let us embrace Russell Wilson, the player that he has turned into, and give him what he's going to need to succeed. Let's say he goes to Carolina, right? Let's say from the Broncos, he goes to Carolina, and Carolina top to bottom says, you know what, we're going to protect you. We really like you because we know not only are you a valuable asset right now in the quarterback that you are, we're planning on drafting the next guy, and we want to turn into a Green Bay type situation where you, the veteran, bring the young guy along, and then when it's time, 4 or 5 years in, it's time for you to move along, retire. We're going to send you out great, and then this next guy is going to be ready to go, but we're going to give you everything that you need to succeed. Not the next guy to succeed. We want you to succeed, and we're going to teach. We want to bring in the offensive line and the weapons that you need to succeed. He was never given that chance. If he was
like Chicago did Caleb,
he could probably still winning in the league right now. He might have a shot at an MVP.
But the only teams that had those kind of lines didn't need quarterbacks.
I understand, but
oh my God! Oh! Well, guys, I hate to interject, but let's get to the picks because technically, we were done like a minute, like quite a few minutes ago. So let's get into the picks.
Before we get to the picks, breaking news: Underwood just announced that he is coming back to Michigan for his sophomore season. Sorry to be a Debbie Downer. Anyway,
I mean, hold on. Yes,
right. Yeah, that works out for Ohio State.
That's awesome. Hey, baby. And Wisconsin.
That works out for
and Minnesota.
God damn it.
And Illinois.
Right.
And Purdue, and Iowa.
And if they mess around and play Indiana this year, oh God.
Everybody that's gonna beat Michigan next year because they're gonna learn their defensive backs are gonna get really good at catching his passes. They're gonna get real good at it.
They're gonna become excellent pass catchers.
They are. They're gonna turn some DBs.
They're gonna turn some DBs into two-way players.
Oh my God. You did that on purpose because we tied. You did that on purpose.
Gotta have some semblance of a head. I'll go on my rant on the Bengals. I'm not going to even tire you guys with my rant on the Bengals because it seems like Nick Lachey and Lance McAllister and a couple of other people have already said the same thing that I've said for years, and it's not going to change. We love mediocrity.
Yeah.
And the saddest thing about it, and I posted it today on my social media. You can't issue a statement like you did at 10 o'clock in the morning, or maybe a little bit earlier than that, and be as completely tone deaf without knowing the context. And I gave the context after the fact. The Bengals valuation from Forbes was $5.25 billion.
The lowest in the NFL.
They are the lowest in the NFL. Now, being the lowest in the NFL, you would sit there and you would take that to heart and be like, oh, damn, we at the bottom. We the lowest value team until you get into the finances. Their operating cost is $50 million a year.
Yep.
So if you take Cincinnati Public, parochial math in there for it, 50 million divided by 5.25 billion means 1% of your revenue that you're making is going back into your operating. That's not including the player salaries and things like that.
Nope.
Your base operation.
That's your president, your scouting department, finance, all of it.
1% of your revenue yearly is going back into doing that. While you have a city that is funding for your renovations for your stadium.
Yep.
You have an area that is bustling and trying to revitalize, and you could be the centerpiece of it. But part of that revitalization and remodeling that you're doing for it did not include the one thing that could possibly put you over the top, which is either enclosing or capping the stadium.
Right.
When
like everybody else.
Right. When Cleveland, 4 hours up the way, will probably get announced this weekend that sometime in 2031 or 2032, they're going to host the Super Bowl.
Yep. The mistake by the lake that figured out that the Brown family was cheap and useless, kicked him out.
And got the motels out. And I looked at the full renderings from there. Their renderings for that stadium and everything that they're building around it,
it's cool.
Would be amazing against the riverfront. But you know where the mistake by the lake is building it next to? Their airport.
Yes.
And they will get a Super Bowl before we can even think about it.
Yep.
So what you made, and this is the dumb math that's in here. In this, I made 5.25 billion, and I spent 50 million. But if I got a Super Bowl, I could probably quintuple that and still only paid the 50 million.
Yep.
And I might only have to kick out a couple, maybe 100 million of that billion in order to renovate the stadium to where I could possibly get it. And what do? I ain't doing nothing. I ain't changing nothing. All right, what you got? What just happened?
Somebody probably getting ready to get kicked out of the game for targeting. Man,
the FCS championship.
Yeah, he just wow, that was
I just turned it off from there, but yeah, it's not. I'm not. Cincinnati is home. Yeah. I will always root for the home teams when it comes to it, but as I'm not the same kid at 8 years old, watch my father cry when Montana hit Taylor for a touchdown.
Yeah. God, I remember that.
I felt bad. I cheered.
But you were, I mean, you were transplanted here. We lived here. We understood.
No, I was not transplanted here. I was born here. I just wasn't living here at the time. I was born here.
You wasn't here.
That was my first taste of true heartbreak that I can really, really remember.
Oh my God! I'm sorry. I got tired of watching Taylor have to suffer through every time they played San Francisco 49ers and they would lose by a baseball score of 7-3. I got tired of that. That was so annoying.
But it's like I can't
wonder that the Bengals had. You realize that Bill Walsh took his offensive coordinator position that he was in the Bengals, right? And went to San Francisco with his offense and came back and kicked the crap out of us.
Yeah.
And that's going to come out. You see that they're doing a documentary on AMC for the 49ers dynasty. I mean, with Brady. I think Brady is the narrator.
I mean, everybody should know the fact that the Bengals screwed up by not hiring Bill Walsh,
Bill Walsh.
their head coach.
Yeah.
And
Because could you imagine? Could you really imagine a no huddle West Coast offense?
Yeah, Ken Anderson did it all the time. It was great.
Once it got to the point to where Boomer was there with the weapons that they had, they were already good.
Oh, they would have won back to
back.
You were to talk about a dynasty. Bill Walsh in Cincinnati going from Ken Anderson and Isaac Curtis to Boomer Esiason and Chris Collinsworth, Ickey Woods, and James Brooks. You would have had
Eddie Brown and Tim McGee.
You would have had
and Rodney Holman, and you had Munoz.
Yeah, you would have had 6 to 8 Super Bowls in 12 years.
Now, here's the sad part.
From 80 to 94, they probably would have won 6.
And here's the sad part when you think about that with the weapons that they had. And fast forward it. You got Burrow, Higgins, Chase. You can call Gesicki. Gesicki is if when he's healthy, he's there. Chase Brown is developed. Chase Brown is developed into a back.
Tinsley
seems
to be coming along.
From there, you got the weapons there.
Yes,
but your tone deafness to what's in front of you, because of the success that you saw, they're not looking at the 6-11 record. They're looking at we were 5-3 where Joe was there.
Yep. Well, here's the other thing that they're missing is they don't have the answer in the building.
And that's the other part. Because not only you were real quick to say you weren't going to change him, and you weren't going to change Dick. Duke Tobin wasn't going nowhere. So It doesn't matter what you do.
He's a ball guy, man. He gets blamed for everything because he's the guy in the position that should be a GM, but he's never given those powers. He's not given
But he's had it since '99.
Well, I understand. No. What I'm saying is that he hasn't had anything.
Right. He's been able to skate.
He's the scapegoat for Mike Brown.
And that's where it's like, okay.
Oh,
now
it's Mike Brown. Like, let's be honest.
And I get where Nick Lachey and them is coming out saying, like, as a fan base, we need to do that. Okay, so who's going to come up with the money to hostile takeover?
Good luck.
Because at the end of the day, because the dollar figures is out there now. If they're saying if they're saying 5.25, you come at them with $7 billion as a conglomerate. You can put in a bid and try to get it. Mike Brown's getting older. You don't know if Katie wants to be involved with it. But who's gonna do it?
Well, there's a Saudi guy a Saudi oil guy that wants it.
Oh God. Oh my God. No.
I'm like, that's a bad.
Hey, you know what?
No, I'm sorry. This wasn't to what y'all were saying.
Give me the Saudi guy's name. I'll call him.
What I was saying it about is now that Stefanski's been hired, you know whose name's been coming up again.
Stefanski been hired where?
No, I said since he's been fired.
Oh, Dion.
Yeah.
Yeah, we knew that shit was coming. And Dion's probably gonna leave because he's realizing that he's not gonna be anything with Colorado.
He's not a good coach. Hey.
He's not a good coach. He's a good motivator. He's not a good coach.
He's not even that, really. I mean, after your first year or two, his motivation style, you just kind of go, okay.
Yeah, he's a good mentor. He's not a good motivator because he's too blunt.
Great mentor.
He's too blunt.
The diversification, his ability to make you money on your name, image, and likeness, and his marketing and all that, genius at it. I don't know who he hired to help him get his brand off the ground, but he's been running with it ever since. Millions of dollars in just his name alone. So yeah, he's a great business mentor, absolutely, and everything.
Oh my God!
All right, we doing picks?
Yeah. Let's do picks. I'm sorry. You remember that incident that I told you happened at my friend's birthday party slash concert there, Jay?
Yeah.
Well, apparently the lead singer of Pretty Boy Floyd got wind of it, and apparently he's been going viral. So that's the other thing that I've been reacting to because my friends are like, I'm like scrolling, and my friends are talking about it. And yeah, so apparently it got back to him that people were upset that he did it. And I guess he must have posted and said something because now I'm looking through my Facebook every few minutes and somebody's commenting about what he did and how they feel about it. And it's real. My friends are, eh, my friends, yeah, when they feel a kind of way about something, they have a way
They
of,
get spicy. They get extra spicy.
oh God, spicy. Spicy would be nice.
Ooh.
Spicy would be nice. Yeah. Yeah, you just got to be careful where you're dropping that N-bomb. That's all I'm saying. It just got to be careful where you're dropping the N-bomb. It just
Or if you're like me, you just don't.
that would be the smart thing to do, but hey, we live in a world of hey, do what you want and anybody that doesn't like it, they're just a hater and you don't have to take it.
Oh, okay.
That's the rumor anyway. Oh God, I love humans. Anyway, so yeah, let's get on these picks because we've
All
been
right. Are we picking all the way through or just this weekend?
Just
just this weekend. Yeah.
All
Just
right.
just this weekend.
So, first game on this weekend, looking at the times, is the Rams at Carolina.
I'm taking
Hmm. I'm taking the Rams, but the way the season is going, I am scared.
I have a pick because of the way the season's going, but it's not. I have
Oh,
a pick, but it's not.
So like I'll make the picks. I'm just not putting no money on them. I just
That's why I'm willing to go with the pick that we're getting to. And you're gonna go, oh, okay, that's your pick. And I'll tell you what it is.
okay. Okay.
all right. Next game on Saturday. Green Bay at Chicago.
Holy crap.
Give me Chicago.
Uh Damn it. They can't last for 4 quarters. So that's telling me to pick their defense can't last for 4 quarters. So that's telling me to pick Chicago. But for some odd reason I want to pick Green Bay because especially seeing that it's on a Saturday, it seemed like whoever I decide to go with, I should pick opposite.
I think this is one of the only
You know
two
what?
you throw
That
toss up.
that's what yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go with Green Bay.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
This is a true
I'm
toss.
gonna pick the tie, and it's gonna go all throughout the rest of the couple of games, and they just gonna call it and say both of them get to play, and it's gonna be a three-way game against the next round. Nah, nah.
That'd be great. That's a crazy contingency.
Seeing as though Green Bay seems to have lost their running attack,
Did they call it?
and I don't know. And you want to know what the other part about this that I'm worried about? The weather.
Yep.
Because I could have swore they said it was either going to be rain or snow in Chicago that weekend. If it's snow, it's even. If it's rain, it's Chicago.
I'm giving it to Chicago just because I feel that Caleb Williams is going to be the most consistent.
But the downside is just like you can't count on Green Bay for 4 quarters on their defense. You can't count
I'm not.
he Caleb is kind of being like Bo
I'm,
Nix.
I'm counting on him to be consistent.
Caleb is kind of being Bo Nix. You can't
I,
count on it. You can't count on him until the fourth quarter.
I think he can end up with stat line like 150 with a touchdown and 2 interceptions, but their running game and their defense is going to score 4 touchdowns. Like, like that's
Ooh.
happen. Like,
Okay, so the weather for this game, 38 degrees,
yeah,
uh, should 25% chance of snow and 15-mile-an-hour winds.
yeah, give me Chicago.
Yeah, I'm going with Chicago.
Yeah, sorry, that's just it's just too much of Chicago weather that Green Bay is. While Green Bay is colder,
Right, Green
the
Bay,
wind
Green Bay can't
through 'em.
deal with wind for some reason.
Yeah,
It's weird. It's
that,
very weird. All right, now Sunday at 1 p.m. Buffalo against Jacksonville.
Damn.
here's my here's my here's my pick. I'm taking Jacksonville because it's been that kind of year, and this is the only chance that Josh Allen's going to have at a quote unquote easy road to the Super Bowl because Joe Burrow's not in it and Kansas City's not in it, and he is going to trip over the opportunity. And I think that Jacksonville does just enough to get a last second field goal to win 13-10. It's going to be a crap game, and it's going to come down to that last second field goal, and Jacksonville's going to win it because they do just enough to win. Not because they're superior in any way. They're going to do just enough to capitalize on Josh Allen tripping over the opportunity.
Well, technically, defensively, they are superior to the Bills because the Bills just, especially against the run, which ATN has just been doing the thing.
Yep.
So if they play offensive complementary football and they do it right, they're and then the defense does what they do in terms of keeping pressure and not letting James Cook get off, which is totally possible with the shape of that offensive line. It's not looking like it's looking like the two games that should be givens is the Houston Steelers game and the even though Tomlin has a trump card, um, it's looking like those two games should be a given as to who's going to win. So, yeah, I just, mm.
You coming on board the Jacksonville train with me? Come on.
I'm gonna have to because I just they don't the same thing that Baltimore does, if it makes sense, the same thing that Baltimore does with Henry,
Yep.
for some odd reason Buffalo does with Cook.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, if they do that in this game, the defense for Jacksonville is going to eat them alive because Knox hasn't been very consistent, and you don't know if Gabe's going to be able to last the whole game without getting hurt.
Yep.
And Shakir, they're going to double and triple Shakir because they're not worried about the other two.
Yep.
So, yeah, I don't unless they lean on more on Cook than on Josh. Because I'm sorry, it's not a Batman and Robin. It's a Super Friends. It's Superman and Batman. You got to use both your superheroes. You have to. And don't just run them up the middle. Running up the middle for most of the teams in the NFL don't work. It doesn't. When you see it don't work, try running off the tackles.
Sure.
You know,
Uh,
All right.
try. But anyway, yeah, Jacksonville.
I'm
So
joining Jacksonville. I don't
Coming on,
trust
Jack.
Buffalo. I
right,
don't trust Buffalo. And
yeah.
Buffalo, for everything that they've said for it, something yesterday kind of stuck out with me. Their offense looked damn good with Mitchell Trubisky running it yesterday, even though it was against the backups. They had most of the starters playing. They look like a well-oiled machine versus Josh Allen when he's out there. Because think about the past couple of weeks. They have the only time they put up those type of
Okay,
numbers.
okay. So my immediate question, especially with the name you just told me, who was he facing on the other side of the ball?
He was playing backups, but they starters were still playing with them. That's what I'm saying. Their starters, even with the backups
Oh,
in there
okay.
for it.
Well, that's why he looks so good.
I get
Because
that, but I get what you're going with that. But what I'm saying is that offense
are
didn't
you
put
about
up
to
that type
Shador
of
him?
numbers.
Are you about to Shador Mitch
I'm not
Trubisky?
Shadoring. I'm
Trubisky
not
is better.
Shadoring him.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm
Mitch is
not. I'm not
better.
Yes, you
Shadoring
are.
him.
It's
I'm not Shadoring him.
like he
But
played
what
against
I'm
the
saying,
backups. He looked great. He should be a starter.
no,
What are we doing?
I'm not saying he's a starter. I think that's more of an indictment of what you always talk about with Josh playing hero ball instead of using what was there around him. The only time that they have scored that many points in a game has been when Josh then ran for about 4 touchdowns and threw for 2. And you're not going to do that against Jacksonville's defense.
No.
So if that scared me. If they would have just won the game and not looked like their offense was in some type of rhythm.
But but they weren't playing the start. That's the part that's
I,
getting me like, no, no,
no, they weren't playing. Who did they
They
play yesterday?
Miami.
Yeah.
They play Miami.
Miami had their defensive starters out there. I'm looking at this. I'm looking at the stat line. They had their defensive starters out there. So that's even worse because if I don't like. I am a very big person on you should be clicking on all cylinders with your starters and everything going into the playoffs. I get when there's I'm not a big fan of resting them the entire game. He came in for one play in order to keep his starting streak out and then walked off the field.
Well, yeah, and Peyton used to do that, so I mean, we can't totally
And
trash him for it.
and you also got to take into account the
Brady
emotional
did it
part
too.
of it with them being that was the last game inside of Rich Stadium. I don't call it High Mark. It's Rich Stadium. So that was the last home game that they had there. Truth be told, they look damn good, but without their starting quarterback. So when you put them back in here, is it going to continue to be a well-oiled machine? If they look as good as they did with Josh Allen back there, they can boat race Jacksonville in Jacksonville.
It's gonna be tough
But
though.
but it's going to be tough because of the defense that they're going up against. And then 2, they haven't looked that good the past few weeks. They
Right.
wouldn't even been in the situation that they was in to where they was playing to be on the road if they would have looked as good as they did.
Yeah.
Buffalo has not looked good the past 5 weeks.
Yeah, but so
We're all on the Jags train, so that's what
We're
that's
all on the
so
Jags train.
they played they played their defensive starters the whole game.
Yes.
And yeah, but they weren't. Well, no, I can't say that because they did have some
They playing
games.
for their jobs.
They
But they didn't play Miami. They had the Jets.
Oh, they had the
oh,
Jets. That's what it was. I
Yeah,
was
they had
gonna
the
say,
Jets.
I'm like, ain't no way
Nah,
they
Miami had what's we call it?
New England.
Miami had New England.
I got the teams mixed up. It was division games, but New England played Miami and um the Bills played the Jets.
Yeah.
Okay, now it makes sense why Trubisky look good. Okay. No, he played it. Stop. Oh my God, stop. Jay, I love you. You my dude. No.
I'm not. I'm
No,
not.
no, no, no,
I'm,
no, no,
and
no,
I'm
no,
not.
no, no.
You're
No,
you're
no, no,
taking
no, 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 no,
you're
no.
taking it as I'm saying it because of the defense that they played against with that. I'm looking at what Buffalo has done for the past
But
5 weeks
dude,
with that.
but
I don't care. I
but
don't
hold
care
on,
because at the end of the day, you
but
plug them
hold
back
on.
in.
They took stats. I need you to understand this. They took stats. Every team, every quarterback, no matter how good they were, no matter how bad they were, that played the Jets this year had a bunch of touchdowns, no interceptions, no turnovers. Every team they played.
Hold on. Where'd it go?
But matter of fact, they made so much fun of them last night that they even made fun of them before the Pittsburgh game because they posted out there as a stat question. And everybody knew the answer, but they was trying to figure out why they was taking a shot at these dudes like everybody didn't know the answer to the question. Like what team had, I think it was like 36 touchdowns, no interceptions, no turnovers. What team was this? And the chick was offended because she knew the answer and she was trying to figure out why they were posing it as a question that was hard to answer. She got offended. And I started laughing. I'm like, oh, that's low. That's messed up. That's you just kicking the team. You like making them read your feelers. It's like making them read your feelers. You stomping them so hard. It's like, come on, man. Okay, we get it. They defense. They mailed it in. They mailed it in, Jay.
I
No.
don't
Now,
trust.
now, now, had it been Miami, you would have had me because
I don't
because my
trust.
because Miami's defense did put a shellacking on a couple of teams, even though overall their team just wasn't that good. There was a couple of teams that got shellacked by that defense. That's why I was very confused. I'm like, no, ain't no way they started their starters. I'm like, against
I
Mitch
don't.
Trubisky. That,
I get everything that you're saying. I get everything that you're
but
saying.
but a
The
team
biggest
that's
thing
that's
that I'm
mailed
saying,
it in, a
but the
team that's
biggest
mailed it in, they mailed it in, bro. They
the biggest thing that I will say about this, even it doesn't matter who you're playing against when it's in there for it.
Yes, it
If your
does.
team the past few weeks
Yes, it
has not,
does.
we've been talking about how they've looked like it's been disjointed. We've been talking about Josh playing hero ball. We've been talking about why haven't they been running the ball with Cook? Why they don't have any receivers? Why?
Well,
And
we
then
know
you
why they
put
don't have any
another quarterback
receivers.
you put another quarterback in there and they put up 35. They put up the same amount that they have been at they max the past 4 weeks with Josh Allen in there.
I get where you're trying to go
That
with it,
it's
but had they played anybody else's tough
we
defense,
all knew the only people that you would get a very good sample size against would have been if they went against New England with that last game of the season. And what happened when they went up against New England? If it wasn't for that second half, New England had ran them out the building.
right. So if they had been
So
playing New
that's
England and Mitch Trubisky
what
looked
take
like
wait.
this, okay, I'll give you that. But a team that basically mailed it in, everybody been questioning if Aaron Glenn is gonna get fired.
But you're the same
He
person that will sit there and say division games matter, no matter who it is. So you can't sit there and say that the Jets, they being a division game is that way, and
But
then say
details
Minnesota.
matter in terms of it
So
when
the
I thought it
Saints,
was
yes, the
Miami.
Saints,
Did you not hear me go quiet?
right?
When I thought it was Miami, I went quiet because I knew I was like, wait a minute, ain't no way that
So
Mitch Trubisky would the way that he plays against a team that can get pressure on you and get pressure on you. We know Mitch Trubisky pressure bust his pipes worse than it bust pipes on Kyler Murray on any other quarterback who name you could come up with. You don't have to have nearly as much pressure to get Mitch Trubisky's pipes to burst and turn into a bursted dam. So it was like, okay, who is it? Who is it? Who is it? And then he was like, oh no, you had the game wrong. They didn't play Miami. Okay, who did they play? They played the
but
Jets.
Miami went up against New England and put up the same amount of points. The Jets put up 8. Miami put up 8 against New England. So
Right.
did
Which
Miami mail it in against the
so my
Jets?
point.
New
So
England?
wait, hold on. What?
Did Miami mail it in against New England? Are we saying that because both teams went up against their top level teams in their division? Are we saying can we legitimately say that?
And when
I'm
this
just asking for clarity
okay,
because
okay.
Miami's in the same boat as the Jets was.
No, they're
They wasn't
not.
playing for
No,
anything.
they're not.
Why?
No, they're
Why
not.
weren't
Oh
they?
my God, no, they're not.
Why weren't they?
Because with Miami, you can't trust Tua. You knew that
But Tua wasn't
defense.
playing.
You right, but you knew the defense. You know that the defense that they had a defense. The Jets
So,
haven't
but
shown a semblance of a defense all season, no matter who they played. No
so
matter
so
who they played.
okay. So if we're saying that, and then we're gonna go ahead and go to the other games. If we're saying that,
Yes.
if you are a defensive player that has had a shitty year and are playing for your job next year, you're not gonna try to go all out.
Have they tried to go all out any other game of the season? No.
I'm not saying all of them. Shit, they beat the Bengals. I can't sit there and say that. That's the same defense that beat the Bengals.
And yet they didn't show up at all. As the season went
Certain
on, as
players
the
didn't
season
show up.
went on, it became clear that the defense wasn't doing their job. That's why after the Bengals game, what happened? They started getting more and more blowouts. More and more blowouts as the season went on. They talked about it, and that's why they was questioning if Aaron Glenn was going to have a job at the end of the year because the team was getting blown out and he was a defensive coach, and how was this happening on his watch? Let's go this. Dang it. Oh God, I love this show. I love doing this. God, I love this. This is awesome.
49ers. Who's the 40? Who you guys have?
Oh my
All right.
God.
The next matchup we got.
Yes.
Where am I at? Where am I at? 1 o'clock. Who is the 4:30?
49.
Eagles at 49ers.
Mm,
No, 49ers at Eagles. Sorry. Got it
Yeah.
flipped up.
mm, mm. Wow.
My gut says to take the 49ers,
Yeah.
but again, the I feel like the Eagles
The
like
Eagles
the heart.
should win, but until they clean house, they can't be trusted. I
I'm taking the Eagles because I don't because realistically, I don't know how healthy Brock Purdy is with how he got beat up that last game against
Right.
Seattle. I don't
fair.
trust I don't trust their offensive line health with somehow how Trent Williams was out and was trying to come back from there. Don't trust that. And I damn sure don't trust with the injuries that they have on defense. I think that if they had beaten Seattle and gotten a bye, I would have said that San
Yeah.
Francisco had an inside track to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Them
they
having to
weren't.
go across country to play
Yeah,
Philadelphia after that hard of a game where that deep Seattle's defense literally beat the brakes off of them.
yeah. Like I
Yeah,
think
but the
I think the 49ers are one of those teams that shot themselves in the foot with early season success and they won a bunch and that carried them through where they didn't have to win as many going down the stretch and they got beat up and those injuries really racked up for them and they really lost a lot of steam. I feel
Oh,
going
and they just lost Bethune for the season.
they did. So yeah, I think I think I got to go with the Eagles for that point. I like I like the 49ers like on paper as a team better, but I think right now the Eagles are in a better position to win the game.
yeah, but the way that the way that they're gonna cater to Devontae and AJ is gonna make what should be an obvious pick not so obvious, which gives the 49ers more than a puncher's chance. Unfortunately, but they will, and plus, as much as we talk about Seattle's defense, um, the Seattle's defense is a step below what the Eagles was last year, and what they have now is nothing close to what they had nothing close to what they had last year.
With the 49ers struggling as much as they did against Seattle's defense, I don't think they're going to have any easier time with Philadelphia.
49ers right now. I'm looking at their injury report right now. You lost Bethune for the season. D. Winters they're saying is highly questionable for it. So
Yeah,
you lost
because he
another
got hurt
linebacker
too.
because of his ankle injury. Luke Gifford is going to be evaluated to see if he can play because he has a quadricep injury. So you got 3 linebackers right now that are either out or highly questionable for the game on Sunday.
Yes.
No, you're not going. No,
I think Philly's going to take it. I agree. I think that I think Philly's going to. I think Philly has it. It's not going to be a blowout. I don't think it's going to be.
I don't think it's going to be a blowout because I haven't been.
But I think
it has to be a blowout. It has to be a blowout, or Philly ain't going nowhere. If it's not a blowout, you're giving the 49ers a puncher's chance. Even with those injuries as you just named, which puts them in a deeper hole than they already were before. Before.
I say it's not going to be a blowout. It's going to be the Eagles are going to control the game in the time of possession. So it's not going to be, you're not going to see this 42-10 score at the end. I think you're going to see a 10-point score, but it's never going to feel that close because
I think that
time of possession.
And I think that they tipped their hand when they sat Saquon and most of their starters yesterday.
Yes.
They're going to run.
Yes.
They're not going to be, I know where you're saying you got acquiesce. This is the playoffs now. This is about the ring. Fuck your stats.
Yeah. You had all
if you getting your feelings about your stats, because Devontae Smith was the only one that played. I had to bench. This is how stupid this was yesterday. You know, I'd have had AJ on my fantasy league. They never said that AJ wasn't going to play as one of the starters. They had AJ only getting 3 points as a player on fantasy yesterday. Yep. I thought it was a typo. They never, even though they said that he was going to get the targets and everything else, they never bumped him up past 3. And Devontae Smith ended up playing. I don't think AJ played at all. And they never announced it. This is not the time to be worried about your stats or anything else. This is about repeat as a championship. Get your panties out your ass and play the game.
He's been doing it all season, and that's and whether people want to admit it or not, that's why they offense been looking suspect ever since that because compared to last year when it was, hey, we just if the ball go to you, the ball go to you. If it don't go to you, whoever it go to, just make sure we get touchdowns, make sure we winning games. There was no manuscript. When AJ came out the way he did, oh, now we got to be on the manuscript. So you got 2 people, probably more AJ than Devontae.
AJ,
I better see that manuscript, and I better be a part of it. I better be a part of it. While you got Jalen and Saquon, like, hey, however we win the game, we win the game. If I run for yards, I mean, for Christ's sake, he could have broke the 2,000 yard record, and he chose to let other people do it. So him and Jalen is on the same page. So you got two people on your offense on the same page, and 2 people on your offense that's not. That's a problem. And that's been part of Philly's problem all season. So if the GM is a real GM, as much as I hate to say it,
that's why I don't think AJ gonna be there after this season.
AJ and hopefully Devontae wakes up, because I like Devontae and I would hate to see him have to get put in the same boat. But he made the decision to and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that he didn't have a point. I'm not saying that they didn't have a point, because they were not getting touches at all. So they had a point. But when your point implodes, the chemistry that y'all had and the way that y'all were dominating and winning, I'm sorry, that's got to be looked at as a problem too, unfortunately, no matter how much your point rings true.
And in light of that, this is why Devontae played yesterday, even though they asked him to sit. he played. And I think he played the first half before they pulled him out. He didn't play. If I'm looking at this right, he didn't play the second half. AJ didn't play at all with that. Cool. When it comes down to it, how did you win the Super Bowl last year? You ran the ball, and then when they came in, they threw over the top. Now, if you want to complain
Well, no,
about
last year they pretty much shut Saquon down, and they found out that, oh yeah, Jalen can throw. Oops.
right. So because he was so worried about Saquon, he threw it and picked them apart. The problem with that thought process is that at the end of the day, one of the things that we always say across any team sport, if you worry about the ring, you gotta stop worrying about self. You gotta be selfless in this. And if this is what you're gonna do for that, do you want to be known as a 2-time Super Bowl champion or the reason why you didn't go back to back? So it's something's gonna have to
want my money.
Right. But here's the thing: none of the stats was in there. If you looked at all the bonuses that was coming in there, none of the stats for their bonuses was a part of that stuff. They weren't even affected by that. They already hit it. So what are you complaining about when you're talking about your stats and your money? You already made your bonuses.
He want to be a part of. He want to feel like he a part of the reason why they won. He don't want to be
on the team.
Yeah, but what do we say about that situation? Like, remember when we started laughing when Kenny Pickett went to Cleveland and they were Super Bowl quarterback Kenny Pickett, and we both started laughing.
There's a difference between being a starter and being the third string quarterback.
Yeah,
there's a difference. You out there, your name is getting announced when they go.
But that's how he feels, though. Even though he's a starter, if he wasn't catching catches,
and that's some bitch.
I get it. I get what you're saying, but that's why he feel the way he feel, and I understand that. But at the same time, you holding the team back, bro.
And that's why he's going to end up on a squad that is not going to be doing anything. And he's going to get his money, but he ain't going to be playing for nothing.
Remember the last time that was a possibility, he ended up in Philly, but which was
right.
I was like,
that was because that was because Philly needed him at that time frame because Devontae wasn't. They had just drafted Devontae. They didn't know what they could get from him. So now you have a situation to where you want to sit there and you want to be about your money. That's cool. Go on over here and go get your money. Go to the Raiders. Go to KC.
It would work there. It would work there. It would be him and Bowers.
Hey, you know what?
Oh my God, no.
Yeah, go to KC. You know why? Because it's not no guarantee that your quarterback gonna be there to throw you the ball anyway.
And then when he does get there, the way he spreads around the ball, there's no guarantee that you're gonna get the ball.
And you're gonna be right back in the same boat.
And there's no guarantee that you're gonna get the ball all the time.
But you got your money.
He's already proven that with Matt Nagy on a part of calling the offense, everything's gonna be crap. There's so many reasons not to go to KC right now.
Side note on that one. I looked it up while we was in between there. Nagy's been there since he left Chicago. Nagy actually was the QB coach when they won the first Super Bowl in the repeat, and he was the OC when they won the second one.
Wait a minute.
He's been there.
So when was he in Denver? Because I thought they were
Nagy
saying
never went to Denver. He went right back to KC. After he got fired from Chicago, he went right back to KC.
It's just like Josh McDaniel.
Yeah, he went back as the quarterback coach and worked with Mahomes. He was the quarterback coach when they won the first title, and then on the second title, he was the OC.
Nice.
And he was the OC. He was the OC when they lost the loss for the 3-peat.
Nice. All right, next game.
All right, next one. Wait, who would you say, Eagles or 49ers?
You know what? I'm gonna stick with it. I got a feeling that AJ is gonna mess up the church's money.
All right, so you're going 49ers?
Yep.
All right, next one. Sunday night game. Patriots at Chargers at Patriots.
Give me the Patriots.
Yeah. Give me Pats.
Uh
That line is too depleted.
I Justin Herbert's been too inconsistent for anything more than, like you said, a puncher's chance. But Patriots are too
Yeah.
football team defensively to give them that option.
I'm gonna go along with you guys and say the Patriots, but I would not be surprised if you see an upset.
Yeah, because if
Sure.
they can somehow hold off the Patriots and they have any semblance of offense, that will make it where the defense can go all out, and they do have a good enough defense that that
Yeah.
that the Patriots could get beat, and that's
And
the
the one
sucky
thing
part about their offensive line being what it is, because this year could have went completely different. The beginning of the season, the way it started off, where they shellacked the Chiefs, it was looking like, oh God, they about to be a problem. And then the injury bug just kept hitting the offensive line. And Joe Alt is a beast. He sat up there, and every time somebody else got hurt, he just moved into their spot. And that somehow solidified the line. And it's like, and then when he went down and went, okay, yeah, we're done for the season.
Yeah.
now the only reason why I'm saying that it's a possible upset with that one, Vrabel's track record in the playoffs. Gotta
Okay.
remember, Tennessee with Tennessee, he's had them there and he's choked when he's gotten
Yeah.
to the playoffs.
Okay.
Sure.
And then two, this is going to be the first time most of that team has been in the playoffs with that pressure.
Okay. Fair.
And at home, and they have the worst kind of pressure because this is your first time back since the GOAT left at home
Yeah.
in Gillette
Yeah.
Yeah.
on Sunday night.
Yeah. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Sure.
Let's see if those pressure buffs spikes with that second year quarterback.
Yeah. All right. Last game of the week.
Last game is Steelers versus Texans. Texans.
I'm taking the Texans.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, gotta say, because it would take, oh man,
It would take a Herculean effort
a Herculean effort on
on
defense.
On
Um,
Pittsburgh's offensive line
Yeah.
to keep Rodgers upright that entire game.
If the Steelers didn't fall backwards into the playoffs and they actually put together their last 2 or 3 games and an impressive track record there, I might be willing to go with the Steelers at 10-7. But because they fell backwards into the playoffs, winning those games when they really didn't have any business winning,
yeah,
that's
especially the way they did it.
why,
They spent the first half giving away the game, and then
yeah.
the second half was the second half. Yeah,
Here, guys,
totally fair. Yeah. Give me the Texans. Yeah.
So not a lot of disparaging in here. We all were aligned on everything except for Dante going with the 49ers against the Eagles. Dante going against Green Bay against Chicago. And that's it.
Yeah, those are the only two.
You
Yeah,
oddball. You had to be
I'm
difficult.
I'm the eyeball. Here's the other thing. Talking about paying attention to patterns, and this is why I said what I said about Green Bay's unfortunate defense. They're not good for 4 quarters because they should have beaten Chicago both times. They had the
Yeah.
lead
And
both
they choked
times,
it away in the fourth.
and they
Yep.
choked it away in the fourth. And it's like, good grief. It's like, I get once, but twice I could
No,
see.
they showed that stat. They split this season.
Did
But
they?
Green Bay almost lost it the first time with it, and then they
Okay,
lost it the second one. So
yeah.
they split because that was one of the biggest things on SVP yesterday
That's
was
right,
that
cause Micah wasn't hurt yet.
yeah, they said one of the biggest things about that was They are the two teams that have played each other the most in the NFL's history, but this is only their third time playing against each other in the playoffs.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
good stat to end the show on right there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. So for the most part
We
we
stayed,
did
we did
we
better.
did
We
well.
did
We did
better.
well. We did well.
Only
Uh
3.5 hours this time.
right. It
Yeah,
just
3.5 hours, but the NFL talk was needed for that. We'll be able to stay in within the 2 hour time frame next week because it's only going to be recapping the games.
Yep.
Bowl game. We got two bowl games coming up on Thursday and Friday night,
Yeah.
and then we're not talking about college basketball yet because college basketball just seems like a clusterfuck.
well
We don't
yeah, that
Besides
NIL
Michigan. Oh yeah, by the way, I have the biggest Michigan homer, just got promoted to being president of my first job.
Oh,
And the first thing that he mentioned to me today was some random stat that Michigan is like the tops of because they keep on blowing out teams by like 30 and 30
yeah,
something odd points. And I'm like, yeah, do it during the tournament.
right.
And he just kind of looked at me like he's literally came for Halloween at our job one day as Harbaugh.
that's weird.
And he looks like him.
That's unfortunate.
Oh
Yeah.
God. I
And
don't
on that note,
Oh well, yeah,
Yep.
this is another week of United World of Sports. Once again, welcome back, Drew. God, it was
Pleasure.
fun. We will figure out a way to
we'll
stick
get better
to
in
the new
time.
to the new game plan. We will right the ship. It will be great. But until next week, folks. Dante Suave, Drew, Mystah Jay, and we're out.
Peace out.
Later.